I can hear you right now. Yeah. All good. I'm doing pretty well. I think it's been going pretty well for everything, but the end two, I'm still really struggling with that. A little bit of progress there, but yeah. Ouch. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Um, yes, it is all. Let me try this. I don't know if this will be any better. Um, yeah, it's all good though. Hi. Is this audible? Hello. Hi. Okay. Yeah, I'm still really struggling with that one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. In the trill, not very well. I think just with the pitch slide, it's easier, but I'm struggling with it in the trill.
Sorry, YouTube. That should fix it. Very sorry. Sorry. Forgot to adjust that from my private lessons. Okay. Okay, yeah, you're struggling to do that during the lip trills. Okay, we'll approach that afterwards. Could we have one more? If you feel you're able to, try to intentionally just switch the M2 sooner. If not, just have a go of the going up and doing a siren at the top. And yeah, using your M2 as much as you're able to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was fully an M1. Okay, we'll approach that in a moment. And then can we do
Yeah.
from the top, going down, and then starting at the bottom, back up again. Okay? Again, don't repeat the mistakes that are coming into mind. I just can't close my mouth properly, so I'm having some airflow issues. Oh, have we lost Mara?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're back. I think Mara's having some internet issues.
Sorry about that.
Are
Oh
we
yeah, my
back?
ping is going crazy.
Okay, yeah, we're
That's
back now.
weird.
We're back
Yeah.
now. Check in case you have any downloads going or anything like that, because Steam can be sneaky with that. And
Yeah.
if not, if you could do that
Can
again,
you
because we didn't
close
hear any of
other
it.
stuff as well?
Yeah, yeah, I'll give you a second just to get
Sorry.
everything ready. No, 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 it's totally fine. It's totally fine.
Okay, let
By
me
the way,
try
while we
now.
have people in the YouTube stream, can you let me know how the sound balance is between me and Mara? I think I've set it so that now we're about the same volume, but let me know if I need to adjust that. Okay, all right, if you can go through that again, because we didn't hear it last time. Okay, okay, that's okay. Okie dokie, let's have another look at your M2, M1 stuff, because that's been a big difficulty for you for a little while now. So, the main thing I'm looking for is for you to be switching into your M2 way, way, way sooner. Um,
Yeah.
so, I first want to dig a little bit into why this is happening. Excuse me. So, firstly, in terms of your, have you in the past tried to like mess with this stuff? I'm wondering if there's any like past voice training that you've had or anything that's pushing you towards not using your M2.
Um, I think I may have overtrained my upper M1 range. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
really know that I wasn't supposed to do that. So I think
Right.
what
Okay.
I'm having is I have a lot of overlap between my lower M2 range and my upper M1 range, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
always finding it easier to default to M1, especially when there's
Right.
pressure
Okay.
in the softies. I've even tried it with like straw phonation,
Mm-hmm.
and like I can manage it fine with just a pit slide, but at the moment I try it in a softie, uh, it doesn't work.
Yeah. 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 Just to repeat that back to you, because your audio cut out just for a moment. Was that it's okay? It's no, you don't have any issues when you're doing the bubble phonations. It's during all the rest of the time that you have issues. Did I hear that right?
No,
Oh,
sorry.
okay. Sorry.
Sorry, I
Repeat
don't know
that
why
bit.
the
Yeah. Yeah. It's
audio
okay.
is being annoying as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's fine during like regular pitch slides. It's not working
Ah.
during any kind of softie, including I tried bubble phonations as well.
Okay, that's interesting. Including bubble phonations. I would not expect that to be the case. Excuse me. Okie dokies. All right, well, let's use that, okay? So, first, can you give me a pitch slide? We'll do exactly what we were doing. Just go up to, don't necessarily go to your maximum pitch range, but just a large pitch range, okay? So, something along the lines of like, uh, okay, okay. Watch that top end, but we're not pushing too much when we're going into M2. So like you were fine at first, and then there was a sort of like, uh... so watch what we're not having that at that top end. Other than that, though, that was not too bad. It was a little bit of a late start on the M2, but generally it was kind of okay. Can you go through it again, please? Ooh. Do you hear that sound of tension in your voice there? You might have experienced something as well.
I think sort of when I started going back down, it got a little weird. Not sure exactly.
I think it. So I think it
Like
crept.
in that
I think it
transition when I
started.
hit the top and went back down.
Yeah. So I think it started as you were sliding up, kind of where I would expect for M2 to start coming in. We did switch to M2, but we also had a lot of tension in there. And then as you started going down, it was still in there for the whole time. So that's probably why the down felt more weird because it was introduced as we were going up and was then still there for the entirety of it going down. It kind of sounded like this.
Right.
Yeah, it was a sort of hyper adduction thing where our vocal folds are having far too much closure, and they're not like allowing themselves to relax off of that again. So let's go through that again. We'll go through this a few times until we can get this pitch slide nice and good, and then we're going to use that pitch slide to help teach us to to help transfer it into the softies. Okay. So let's just stay on this for a few times. Again. Trying to keep it as relaxed as possible. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. Didn't quite get as high, but I'm not really worried about that too now. Right now, it's not what we're working on, so it doesn't matter. Again.
That one was a little shakier for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't mind too much shakiness. That's not something I'm worried about. I'm intentionally adding a bit of shakiness into mine to like present that that's not too much of an issue. Okay, again. Okay, good, good. I'm pretty happy with these. Now let's try to emulate that same thing going through. Actually, let's do this in stages. Let's like baby steps this. Exact same thing, but we're just gonna go. So we're doing it through the phoneme. Pretty okay. Do it again. Okay. Sounding like a little bit of extra effort at the top end, but I'm not too concerned about it. Do you feel like there's extra effort in there, experientially?
Yes, I think
Mm-hmm.
so. But
Okay, okay.
I'm finding it a little hard to figure out exactly where video.
Yeah, it's just in the upper end of the M2. If it's enough that you can feel it, then let's focus on it a bit more. So again.
I felt
Okay.
a little bit more tension, I think, when I was making the switch there.
Yeah, yeah. I thought the M2 had a lot of tension in it that time. So try again, trying to ease off that tension as you're going up. Try to like remember when we've done the sighs in the past where we're doing those like relaxation sighs. Try to like emulate relaxing as you go up. Okay, like a where you like let yourself start relaxing. You probably can see on my appearance much, but like try to like let your whole body relax as you go to those higher pitches to try and bring out some more of that relaxation into your voice.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Started to sound a
I
bit
think I
better
lost
there.
it on the way back down.
Say that again. Say
I
that
think
sentence
I
again. I just
sort
missed
of
you there.
lost it on the way back down, but yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay. We also
I'm saying I think I sort of lost it on the way back down. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about
Yeah, no, it's okay. Just we're gonna have that happening a couple of times because of internet issues for you. We also don't hear it super clearly at the high end. I'm guessing something in your mic is like compressing that sound. So just I might be a bit more reliant on you in terms of telling me what's happening there. Because you get
I
very
think it
quiet at
definitely
that
could get
end.
quieter at the top as well.
Oh, do you think it's you getting quieter rather than a mic thing?
Yes. I think it
Ah,
was me getting quieter. Yeah.
okay, okay. I assumed it was some kind of built-in mic compression. Okie dokie. That's interesting because I would expect the opposite. Let's just see what happens if you consciously try to maintain the same volume throughout. So ordinary conversational volume.
Okay.
Mhm. Okay. Again, tell me what happened at that top end. There definitely is also some mic compression happening because I can hear your background sounds also get quieter. So it's not just you.
It's annoying.
Don't worry about it. It's okay. It's okay. I
Uh,
trust you that I can rely on your information. In terms of tension, was there an increase in tension? Because I thought there was, but I wasn't quite certain.
yes, at the very top, I think it got a little bit tense, and then as I started going back down, I think it sort of relaxed, but I'm not sure on the way back
Okay,
down.
okay. Let's go through it again then.
Definitely tension on the switch and on the way up there,
hmm
I think.
Yep, that's exactly what I heard. I didn't actually hear much on the way up in terms of M1, but as soon as we switched into M2, it was a big increase of tension.
Yeah.
Let's try, and this, how do I express this properly? I want you to try going slightly breathy as you're doing this. Now, obviously, our mouths are closed, so really the breathiness isn't quite as present in the sound. You might be able to hear it. There is a slight change in the sound, but I don't know how well, certainly the audience would be able to hear it without being trained on it, and I don't know how well you'll hear it. The difference is like, if I make it more breathy, it'll sound like this. As opposed to could you hear the difference there? I'm not sure how well it comes across.
Um, yeah, I think I heard that. I can
Okay,
give that a try.
okay. Try giving it. I mean, it's, in terms of what you're doing, it's the exact same as breathiness normally, but obviously because your mouth is closed, it's only coming through the nose. So it can just be a little bit. It'll sound slightly different to what you're expecting from breathy. But a lot of breathiness is vocal fold behavior, and we tend to be a bit gentler with ourselves in M2 when we're going a little bit breathy. So I just want to see what happens when you go for that. Okay, try again.
And I think that sort of cut out on M2, but I'll try that again.
Yeah. Okay.
Tension at the top again, I think.
Yes, definitely. Less tension than before, and your tension is easing off as you start going down, which is interesting. It's now just the top end where you're getting that tension. Can we just try go back to the relaxation style thing, using this hum and that breathiness, and just go from the top descending as an ordinary sigh, just a okay. Where were we starting there? Because again, I couldn't quite hear the top end.
Not too high. I think that should
Okay.
have been around E4-ish.
Okay. Okay. Let's try to start a bit higher, with a very clear M2, and I want it to be. I want you to be spending about half of this in M2. Obviously, I don't want you to being too, like top down controlling of this, because the whole point is for you to be relaxing and not controlling it as hard. Um, but generally, I'm looking for a vibe of about half of it being an M2. And let's try just staying on that top note for just half a second or so before we actually do the descend. Just mainly so that I can hear it clearly.
I think that was a little higher, maybe around G4. Not
Mm-hmm,
too much
mm-hmm.
higher though.
Yeah, so we definitely had a lot of tension coming into it. And then as soon as you started declining, we lost that tension immediately. That said, I also think that we switched to M1 pretty quick. Um,
Yeah,
so it could just be that
yeah,
we're
that
not
did
getting a lot of
happen.
tension because we're not in M2 very much. Um, See if you can roughly, I don't need an exact pitch, but roughly match my pitch for it. That's where you're going to try and start, okay?
Okay, I'm very bad at pitch matching, but I will
That's
try.
it. It doesn't need to be an actual matched pitch. I just want that rough area, even just that octave.
Yeah, that's a lot
Okay,
of
that's,
tension, sorry.
yeah, a lot of tension, but that was pretty much bang on the same note. So well done on the pitch element of that.
Yeah, a lot of
Okay,
tension at the
yeah,
start.
ton of tension, ton of tension. Okay, let's approach this from a completely different angle. Um, I'm going to teach you tension intentionally. So what you're specifically having here, I mentioned it earlier, is hyperadduction. The true vocal folds are really tense and locked up. Okay, so it's not the usual thing where
Yeah.
we have like a raspy sound that comes through in somebody's voice. We have this kind of a sound, and it's super super raspy, which is your false vocal folds coming into it. Instead, it's your true vocal folds. So it sounds more like this, where we have this huge amount of tension in the voice. There's no like breathy element to it. There kind of couldn't be any breathy element to it because we're so locked on that the air is actually struggling to get past. You might find that this also focuses your breathing a little bit, where you have to like exhale to then inhale because you're not actually managing to just expel much air during the talking process like you normally would. So yeah, we'll start off. Okay, we'll start off. You're at the gym. Okay. I don't know if I've gone through this before. Let me know if I have. Um, excuse me. You're at the gym, and there's a heavy weight, like a really heavy weight, far too heavy for what you should be lifting. But screw it, we're lifting it anyway, and we're probably going to go home in an ambulance. All right. So we're at the gym. Okay. We've got this big ass weight. All right. Ridiculous, stupid weight. And then I'm going to try and talk like this if I can. And be careful that it doesn't start going, I'm going to try and talk like this. That one you'll particularly feel. So this shouldn't be
Yeah.
particularly painful. Maybe slightly uncomfortable. But it should more just be like there's a lot of physical effort going into maintaining it. But it shouldn't hurt to do. Okay?
Okay, yeah.
All right. Give it a go.
That feels so
Yeah?
weird.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah. You might need to
okay,
drop your
yeah, I
pitch
think
a little bit in order to bring it into speech. But that was a nice setup. Okay, go
I
through
think I
that.
lost it as I tried going in. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think that was largely because your pitch was quite high. So trying to transfer it straight over, you also had to do a pitch drop, which threw you off. Excuse me. So you could even try if your pitch is like way off of what you would normally speak at. Try just like during your setup, drop your pitch a few notes, like a note at a time or whatever, until you get to where you would normally be speaking at. It's like, okay, I'm kind of here now. Yeah, okay, I'm kind of here now. I can have my normal speech pattern while just having this really intense, locked on kind of sound, this really, really high effort sound. Okay? It is also difficult to
Okay. Yeah,
maintain
I will try that.
because, like, you can't breathe properly during it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try keeping it here. Oh, this feels so weird.
Yeah, yeah.
I, yeah. Oh no.
Yeah, started to lose
Right.
it there.
That was
You did
so
a really
weird
good
to
job at
hear my
first,
own
though.
voice.
Uh huh, uh huh. You
Oh,
did a really good job at first, though. Like that first sentence was spot on. It was exactly what I wanted. So try that again. Um, and yeah, as best as you're able, try to tell me about what you've been up to the past couple of weeks. And you may need to stop, take a breath or whatever, and like sort yourself out, and then re-drill to carry on.
mhm.
That's totally fine. Because again, like you can't breathe properly when you're doing this, so like that's gonna be a thing. You're gonna have to stop and take breaths sometimes. So that's completely fine.
Mhm. Sure.
Mm.
Okay. Uh, no, I didn't. Shouldn't have paused there. Okay, I'm gonna try talking with it here. I think I sort of lost it actually as I went into speech.
You still got it.
I'm just gonna redrill that. Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
okay.
You still had it. It was okay. Don't worry though. You're going pretty low in pitch, which is totally fine. Just you don't have to go that low if you don't want to. I'm just trying to get you to a point where like the pitch doesn't throw you off. Um, it's not necessarily needing to be at a low pitch. It's just whatever you
I
find
should probably be
doesn't
starting lower.
distract you. Pardon?
Yeah, I should probably be starting lower so I don't have to do as much movement
Yeah, if you can do.
at the
Yeah.
top if you're
The
uncomfortable.
point
Yeah.
is just for it to get to a normal speaking pitch for you, so that when you go into the speaking, you don't get thrown off by having to do a significant pitch change.
Oh. Okay, so I think a lot of what I've been doing for the past week is focusing on uni applications. Uh, so yeah, it's been very annoying. Um, I think okay, stop me if I lose it. I can't quite
Yeah,
tell.
you're
I think
starting to lose it there.
um,
You still had like a base amount, but it definitely wasn't particularly effort. Like there wasn't a lot of it. Well, there's still some of it. Try again.
no, I think I am maybe. Oh, sorry. I think I'm maybe conflating something else with it because I'm focusing on the sound too much.
Ah, okay.
But I will. Uh,
The
I'm
sound is what I want you
gonna try and
focusing
see how
on.
that goes.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
The sound is what I
Mhm.
want you focusing on. This is something that will have significant physical sensation with it, though. So I don't mind you, like listening into your body to like check in. I guess. Um, yeah, I don't mind a slight more body focus here because there is a significant amount of physical feedback you'll be experiencing. Your main giveaway signs are again, you don't feel like you're using as much air. Um, a very effortful feeling. It's the exact same feeling as if you're like locking up muscles like this. Um, it's that exact same feeling, but like around here-ish. Um, it's something that we commonly do as humans when we are expressing effort, um, which is why I had you do that drill with lifting for weight, because that is something you will literally do when lifting something that's really heavy. You just, for whatever reason, we just kind of clench all that muscles at the same time, including the true vocal folds. Yeah, okay, try again.
Oh.
We're losing it a bit as we go to those lower pitches.
Okay, I think I sort of have it here. I think so. Um,
Watch, oh, pause. Watch
uh,
you don't have too much air coming through. If we have too much air coming through, this will
Okay.
turn into rasp, which it was just starting to there. Yeah, definitely back off immediately if you feel this going into rasp. Mainly because we can go pretty hard with this without it causing issues. It might cause some vocal fatigue at time, but it won't cause us any like physical pain or injury or anything like that. If it starts going to rasp though, with the level of effort that I'm having you do, that can be quite painful, and you can hurt yourself a little bit. So just if you feel it starting to move into rasp, do immediately like stop or at least back off, so you don't hurt yourself. Okay.
Okay.
And again, the difference is just like an increase of breathiness, because as you go breathy with it, your false vocal folds will try to come in to like bring that closure back in, which they will fail at because they're false vocal folds, and they're a bit shit at that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Whenever you're ready.
That was weird. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I think that I think that I've been focusing a lot on uni applications. Um, yeah, I really did want to go to a fashion
Lost it
school,
quite a
but
bit,
my
Redraw.
family isn't very keen. Oh, okay.
You still had a bit of it, but I want to get it higher. Try to really be like, and then we kind of have this, and we're really, really having a whole bunch of it as we're going through our talking. Like, really, really have a whole big amount of it. And watch if you don't have. I had a little bit of it coming in there. Watch you don't have any rasp coming into it. There you go. Effort.
Okay. I don't think I have any rasp here.
Yeah, you're doing well.
But yeah. Okay. So I really wanted to go to a fashion school, but my family isn't very keen on that idea. So instead, I am going to probably be going to.
Sorry to breathe.
That's okay. That fact that your breathiness just, or that you needed to breathe there, is a good sign that you're doing this correctly.
Okay. Yeah. I think that. Yeah. I'm probably gonna be going to my dad's old uni. Which I'm not too sad about. I'm pretty excited for it because it's the place I was
Cool.
born, but we
that's
moved
sick.
away pretty young.
I'm gonna read up that again.
Careful about rasping in.
Okay.
Oh.
You're having a slight breathy
Oh,
onset
okay, I
there,
think
and that might be
yeah.
what's throwing you off there. That breathy onset is going to mess with
Yeah.
you. I really want that, like that. We're looking for that sound of something being really effortful, like you're really like, okay, and I'm trying to talk like this. And again, I don't care what your pitch necessarily does during this. I just want to make sure the pitch isn't like throwing you off, and so like making you drop this as you start going into your talking. But I don't care if it's also in a completely different place where it would normally be. Okay. You might also find that your volume is slightly thrown off in this. Sorry. Again, that would be quite normal. Because remember what volume is.
Yeah.
Volume is a build-up of air pressure, which is then released as the vocal folds are during their phonation. So I would expect there to be an increase in air pressure being created. Yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah, okay. Really try to keep that effort going into it. So we really have this huge amount of effort in our speech. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. That's what I want. That was correct.
Weird, sorry.
It is weird. It is weird.
Okay, yeah. So we moved away when I was pretty young, so I have a lot of nostalgia for it, but I don't remember a lot of it. A lot of.
You're doing great.
Okay, yeah. yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. Uh, the application currently is not working, so I'm because uni websites. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Okay, I'll
nice.
pause you
Nice.
there.
Okay, good.
Take a moment to breathe.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now is, now that you kind of have it, we're going to be going back and forth between having that and not having that, okay? To try and build some really clear control over it, all right? So you're just going to be bouncing back and forth like every sentence or so. So we'll start off. You're kind of going to start off talking with a huge amount. Sorry, that wasn't very good. You're starting off with a huge amount of effort in your voice. And then we're going to drop it all off as we go back to normal talking. And then we're going to increase that to a whole bunch. And then we're going to decrease it a whole bunch again. And we're going to try and just on and off as best as we can. You might find, and you heard in my voice, on your onsets and your offsets, you might get a little bit of, excuse me, might get a bit of rasp coming in as your breathing adjusts, because as soon as you go into talking, you're probably going to be a little bit breathy, because you're going to be like, as soon as you release that tension, your lungs are immediately like, oh my God, please, yes.
Yeah.
I don't mind that too much. That's going to be just your body immediately wanting to fix the oxygen situation that you're under. And again,
Yeah.
let yourself pause to breathe for a moment whenever you need to.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, give it a go. And drill whenever you feel you need to.
Okay, yeah, I think another thing I'm really looking forward to is that
It's a fairly cold town.
compared to here, which is very
Okay, I
That was
think I
okay.
was
That was
starting
sounding
to
all right.
rest when I tried switching back into it.
Yeah, I don't.
And
Again,
I
I
was
don't mind a
feeling a
small
little bit
amount of it.
rest coming in.
If you can avoid it, that's great. But I don't mind it for a moment because again, your body's trying to take the opportunity it has to reset your oxygen levels, and what you're kind of not giving it that opportunity by not bridging, by not having any sort of bridge in between period. Again, this is why I'm saying like whenever you feel the need to, just pause and just breathe for a moment, because this is fucking with your ability to breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
okay, yeah. So I was saying I think I'm really looking forward to the fact that it's a lot colder of a place. So and compared to here where I live right now, which is very hot and humid. Um, even though right now it's winter for us because southern hemisphere.
I feel like I'm not going quite back into it as
Mm-hmm.
well. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you're hearing the same.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I am going to pause this there though, because I don't want to wear you out too much. Um, so I'm going to put that on a bench right now, because this is a
Yeah,
very
I will
physically
work on
exerting
that,
thing.
like with breaks.
Pardon? Sorry, say that again.
Yeah, I will. I will work on that, but I will make sure to take breaks and like space it
Yeah,
out.
very much. This is one where I want you to be cautious in your practice. I do want you practicing this, but I don't want you overdoing it. Like
Yeah.
even to this point of the level, I've into the lesson, I probably pushed you a little harder than I would normally recommend, just to make use of the lesson properly. Again, I don't expect this to actually like injure you or cause any issues. Vocal fatigue is a thing, and you're probably going to feel fatigued at points in this. Fatigue isn't necessarily a bad thing per se. It's the exact same as like when you fatigue any muscle. The main reason we aim away from it during trans voice stuff is because we shouldn't be incorporating anything that's causing fatigue into our voice. But right now I'm teaching you something fatiguing so that you can control it, so that you can intentionally remove it. Where I've been going with this and teaching this is what's happening right now, not to this degree, but what's happening right now is what's happening at your higher pitch range and in your M2. So I'm hoping that by teaching you a good control of back and forth, just on and off with that conscious control, when we go into the M2 stuff, you'll be able to just turn it off. So as you practice this, the next step is going to be practicing this in M2. I really want you being careful there because M2 is not something that would typically have huge amounts of tension, which is why I'm trying to remove it from your M2.
I'll probably
So
wait
do
to
what you
try
think.
that until I can do it in a lesson. Yeah.
Yeah, I would generally say play with this until you have control in your M1. And then if you feel like you can, and this is easy in your M1 to do, then by all means try it in your M2. But like,
Okay.
yeah, with caution. Yeah, the main concern being just raspiness coming in, because we are at such a high level of tension here that when we do experience raspiness, we'll be experiencing a lot of raspiness. Like if I go straight into it here to demonstrate, it's going to go like, and we're going to have this level of raspiness here, which is immediately like a lot. Okay, that's pretty intense for you.
Yeah.
So just, yeah, knowing that that's the case, do take caution. Yeah, and also plenty of drinking. Also, when you practice this, I want you always 100% of the time doing some softies first to warm you up, because again, this is quite an intense thing we're doing here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions about any of that?
No, I think all of that made sense.
Cool.
I'm following.
Okay, we have about 5 minutes of a lesson left. How are you feeling in terms of fatigue? In terms of just how's stuff feeling right now? Just to check in.
I think I'm still pretty good.
Okay,
at the
let's
moment. Yeah.
do another 5 minutes of it then. All right, go straight back to it. And again, like please let me know if it's feeling like it's a bit much. Okay. So we're going for start off doing just one like 20 seconds or so, or 10 seconds or whatever, of just trying to stay into, trying to keep that tension there, that hyperadduction. And once you've got it, start going into the back and forths. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
All right, give it a go.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, yeah. So I think I was saying that I'm really looking forward to the cold over there because it's a fairly high elevation compared to here, and it's always
Okay. Actually,
That was
now
exactly the
I'm
moment I was
trying it,
about to.
I think.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I
Now
was say
that
that was
I'm
the exact
trying it,
moment.
I think I am probably getting a little. I'm sorry.
I was about to say, like, I was about to stop you and say, redraw, and then that was, you'd immediately notice it as well. Were you just saying that you're starting to get a bit worn out there?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
now that I'm actually
fine,
getting
totally
back
fine.
into it, I feel like this fatigue is setting in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally fine. We'll stop there then. Yeah, and I do really want you, like, please listen to your body with this, and please be watching out for excessive amounts of fatigue. Again, I don't mind some fatigue happening here because it's something that should fatigue you. And fatigue isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just means it's time to take a break. Anything else I should be mentioning on that? I think just stay hydrated and do your warm-ups. And then when you do practice this, try to have a bit of planning with your practice such that you can just take a break from using your voice for like at least like the next hour or so, just to actually give yourself a full rest. So I don't know what your current plans are for the rest of your day, and I don't want to disturb those plans. If you happen to have the opportunity after this lesson, just don't use your voice for the next hour, 2 hours, just to give it a little break. Obviously, if that doesn't align with your plans, it's fine. You'll be fine. But if that's something that's available to you, then take that opportunity. Yeah, any questions before we wrap up?
Yes, actually. So I don't actually know how to structure this question very well. Right, okay. I guess the best way I could approach it is, so I feel like from what I'm noticing,
we lost her.
there are things, even in speaking voice, Uh,
I might have to pause you for a moment if you are able to hear me.
is that any better? Am I?
Yeah, give it a second to catch up. Okay, you should be fine.
Yeah,
Sorry,
okay,
can you
good.
start your question again? Sorry.
Right, okay. So, I was saying, I think that there are things I have noticed that are kind of like unique to each voice, I guess.
Hmm.
Like, and the best way I have been sort of thinking of them is equivalent to kind of the concept of timbre in singing,
Hmm.
like where everyone kind of like, with all the vocal classifications and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so I imagine those are actually mimicable, but like I'm not sure like what would go into those? Like how would you break those down? How would you like actually learn to do something like that?
Yeah, so if you're going to so this is beyond the level of mimicry and towards like impersonation, which is very difficult. So first, disclaimer on this is yes, doable, but very tricky and takes a lot of practice and effort. Okay, um, and basically we're just looking
Yeah.
at everything else in voice. So I would put things in two core categories of tone mods, and tone mods are going to be hyperadduction, hyperabduction, fry, rasp, um, larynx positioning, um, weight slash quotient if you prefer a term, um, all of those different things, knödel, um, twang, all of these things, okay, all of these tone mods, all right? So there's that as your first category. And then your second category is going to be prosody. And prosody is going to be things like pitch patterns, intonation, upspeak, downward inflection, other examples off the top of my head, pitch pattern things, all of that pattern stuff, okay? The way your voice moves as you speak. So again, prosody and tone mods. Tone mods are generally, they might have movement within them, but like they are a consistent, like they're either there or they're not there kind of things. They're like, yeah, they're a modifier. Whereas prosody is a pattern of movement. So it's just laying out. You basically have to identify what are the tone mods in this person's voice and what is the prosody of this person's voice in as much detail as you're able to do. Accent is another prosody thing that would be quite important with this. Accent is one where you have to break it down a whole bunch. You may find people using different vowels than what the vowels you might use for a word. Different ways of pronouncing different things. Look for like glottal stops happening in certain places. Any of these like behavioral things. And you just got to break it down into as much detail as you possibly can. And then from there, you start mimicking it. That's the process. Very difficult to do. I would say if that's something that you want to try doing, give yourself like some stepping stones. Like, can you first just emulate the accent without anything else having to change? Start there and build from that. Don't go straight into trying to copy their voice because that's going to be just really difficult to do. Past that, it can be helpful to build in like some anchor phrases, like take a sentence that you can copy. Don't worry about the typing being audible. They can all enjoy your typing sounds. Go for a sentence that can be like an anchor sentence. Like every time you say that sentence, it helps set you up. That can help too. Anything else I can help think of with this? I think that's most of the basics. IPA can help you with the accent stuff and identifying what's happening at different points. The nice thing about starting with someone's accent is as long as you can identify what it is, then you can Google it. And you can look up what are the features of that accent. You're usually looking at things like different words, like different phonemes that are swapped out for other phonemes. So like, is t swapped out for like is it stopped out for a glottal stop? So like I don't say butter, I say butter. Look out for things like that. And IPA will help you with that. Yeah, I think that's my summary of that. One thing to always look out for when you are looking at other online resources is just a lot of voice acting people, a lot of voice world, especially online. Actually, no, both online and offline. Use a lot of terms and phrases that make no sense. So just look out for that. Somebody might say back of throat and it have nothing to do with back of your throat. Somebody might say a voice sounds more closed, but it doesn't actually have anything to do with closure of anything. Just look out for that sort of thing and use your own ears to validate what somebody's saying. They mean something, but they might not be using the correct words to describe that. So just watch out for that.
Yeah.
That's a very, very common thing I find, especially in voice acting. So just, yeah, be on the lookout for that. Yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think that answers it pretty well. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. And just keep in mind, that's a really, really difficult skill. So like,
Yeah.
expect it to take a long time just to mimic one voice. Like expect that to take a lot of time and grind. Yeah, that's what I got on that. Yeah, any other questions?
No, I think that was it.
Yeah, cool. Okie dokie then, Mara. So yeah, keep up your practice. And again, just this one, practice sparingly. Don't like push yourself too much because this is quite an intensive thing that we're practicing. Yeah, I think that wraps me up. All right then. So thank you so much for coming, and I'll see you next week. We'll be heading over to the YouTube now. So anybody that wants to continue in on this, head over to the YouTube. One day I'll make a command for this, but until then, HTTPS. No, it's 1 colon, isn't it? And then 2 slashes. Yeah. YouTube.com/@trans underscore network. I got that right? I think so. It'll show up with my logo if I've done it right. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we'll talk about the lesson a little bit, and I'll just give what my thought process was. And then later we're going to be looking at some of the EHRC stuff for the UK because they're now taking public consultations. So you can say if you think that it is some dumbass shit, and they'll listen to you. So yeah, if you're over in the Discord, then head over to YouTube now, and I'll see you over there. All right, bye, people in Discord. Bye. Cool. Okie dokie. And let's move us over to this screen over here. Hello. Yo. Yeah, so I changed my setup a little bit. I just moved back a bit and moved my mic to then be in front of me again. So it means my mic is in frame, but I don't really mind that. I think it's fine having my mic in frame. And it at least means that, like, if I bump my mic or something, you see it happening and you know what happened. So you don't, like, just hear a bunch of sounds and have no idea what's happening. So that's good. This does mean, though, that I am at, like, a full arm's length to reach my keyboard. And that doesn't even reach, like, the top of my keyboard. So that might be an issue. We'll see. I guess I could just move my desk closer to me. No, because that will defy the point, because then the camera will also be moved closer to me. That will completely mess up the whole point of that. So we can't do that. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have a little think about it in terms of solutions to problems that arise with this. I do think that this framing is way better, though. Like, this is, I think, the exact amount of, like, amount in shot that I want. I guess this is the amount of me I want in shot, like almost exactly. Maybe slightly further back would be good, but I think this is pretty okay. I'm pretty happy with this. So yeah, there's the new setup in terms of appearance stuff. Yeah, in terms of what I was going through in that lesson, it was a pretty simple one. You can probably all figure it out. Essentially, Mara has a ton of tension in their voice as they get to M2. Like, it just M2, there's immediately a huge bunch of tension that comes in. So my thoughts are, being as we're struggling to remove that tension from the M2, let's just like practice tension. And specifically what I mean is true vocal fold tension. So the core two tensions that you'll have in your vocal tract are, you could have tension anywhere, but what most people will have is either hyperadduction or hyperabduction. So that's where hyperadduction is when your vocal folds are tensing up and pushing really hard against each other, and hyperabduction is when they're not getting proper closure. And usually during hyperabduction, to make up for that lack of closure, your false vocal folds, which are slightly higher, will come in to try and compensate, which can be quite painful and not make a very good sound. It kind of ends up sounding raspy like this. And yeah, they're not designed for that, so it can be quite just physically intense on you. And yeah, can have some discomfort going on. And obviously sounds weird as well. So yeah, we try to avoid either of those coming in necessarily, mainly because they're not like a feature of an ordinary voice. So I don't want it to be a feature of adaptations we're doing. Obviously, there's nothing inherently wrong with rasp, and there's nothing inherently wrong with hyperadduction or true vocal fold tension. It's just when they're there, when they're not meant to be. So yeah. Also, I don't know how long this stream will be today because that was quite tiring for me as well. Hyperadduction is pretty intense if you're doing a lot of it. But we'll do some of what we're doing. Yeah, do any of you guys have questions about what I went through in that lesson? It's a simple concept really, just if there's something that is coming in that we're really struggling to control, then we just step out of that environment, try to control it in isolation, and then go back into that environment to control it there. This applies to literally anything that happens in your voice that you're struggling to control. You just, take a step back and just learn control of that specific variable. So like when people have nasality issues, I will just sit with them and be like, okay, let's just learn nasality. Learn to turn it on, learn to turn it off. And then we'll go back into what we were doing and try to turn it off during that. Yeah, any significant tone, any of those tone mods, whenever we're having a tone mod that is like coming in when it's not meant to, if we can't just on its own get rid of it, then let's just learn how to do it. So then we can learn how to not do it. Does that make sense? Like if you can do more of something, you can do less of it. Bit off topic, feel free to ignore. You mentioned the time at which folks switch from M1 to M2 or M2 to M1. Is there a suggested goal there? Best to control when the switch is, go early or late? Yeah, so there can be a lot of variation between individuals. It just wants to be before your true vocal folds start getting some tension. So your true vocal folds are going to start getting some tension as we go into really high pitches if you're in M1. So like if I really try to stay in M1, I don't know if I've ever messed with this. Let's see how well I do. So I was staying in M1 for all of that. Wasn't letting myself go into M2. And you could hear I had to go louder and have a bunch of tension coming into it. This is something that is used in singing. If you've ever heard of belting, belting is just going into those high pitches but staying in M1. And yeah, in belting it's useful, but outside of belting it is a completely useless thing. And it's just much more tiring on your voice. And yeah, so it's just a matter of before you start getting that tension, you should be switching into M2. You probably heard in Mara's voice that she has a bit of tension coming in as she gets to those higher ranges. And that's because she's not switching into M2. Yeah. Does that make sense, Clara? So it's not like a specific note, and that could be a bit different for everybody. There's going to be a rough range, though. Like if you listen to my voice, I did a little like yodel there so you could hear it was somewhere around there. The point is to just not be pushing the M2 away, like just switching as soon as you feel the need to, or as soon as your voice wants to. For most people, if you don't try to control it, it will just switch when it's ready to switch. I think it's only because Mara's had specific practice of trying to stretch that M1 out that it's then kind of messed with that. Yeah. Friend, you related a lot to what Mara was saying. After doing a lot of training of high M1, not having a good insight on how to practice, find, and use M2 correctly. Yeah, I think that's a common thing. I don't think really anybody needs to be practicing M1 in terms of going into high pitches in M1, unless it's something you're specifically trying to do for a specific reason. Like if you're trying to fuck with belting in singing, then yes, absolutely. But I don't think I can think of a reason outside of belting that you would be needing to do that. You see Charles talk about this a lot. Yeah. Yeah, he got yelled out affectionately in linguistics for it. Yeah, I was there for that. Didn't realize you needed to let the switch happen. Yep. Found that was a tell for you. You could tell you were holding tension because you couldn't switch the M2. Yeah, as soon as you want to be, or your voice wants to be switching into M2, if you don't, it's immediately going to be an increase in tension. You'll always have that, which can be a good point out. Soul strings. Hey, soul strings. I remember that your sing limit was at G1 at highest. It's only with voice mod training that you realized that you actually can use M2 without it sounding off, which added another octave to your range. Yeah, M2 is a cool thing. I'm not a singer, so I haven't played with like different styles of M2 usage before. But like a big one is M2. You kind of have like two ways of using M2. You have the typical like breathy kind of M2, which is like falsetto. Like if you're kind of talking like this is going to be what is typical of falsetto. That's what I would normally use in my M2. But you can not have that and do, I don't know what the singers actually call this. It will have a Latin name. Or is it Latin or is it Italian? I think it's Latin. I assume it's Latin. But basically the same thing, but without that breathiness, with proper closure. Let's see how well I can do with it. Yeah, okay, that, whatever that's called. So, would be falsetto. Would be whatever the other thing is called. I've heard some people call that head voice, which is obviously a terrible term, but I guess if you want two distinguishing things, you could do that. But also, it's a terrible word, and I will always hate anything where it is body part voice, because it's nonsense and it doesn't mean anything. Yeah. You're just doing it for fun? You know, ideas about it? Yeah. I mean, it's not that it's a bad thing. It's just, it's made you resist going into M2, which is a consequence that's happened. Yeah. I think it's just something that you want to, like, if you were to practice it, you'd want to practice it with a bit of, like, extra info, I guess. Like, knowing to not let it mess with your normal, not habituating it, I guess. You just need to not habituate it, because otherwise that could cause issues, which I think is what's happened with you, Mara, where you kind of habituated sticking in M1. Proper warm-ups, you can go higher than G2 now, but G2 is your stable maximum. Soul strings, have you played much with the whistle register? Because I assume you must be getting close to whistle register there. Your resting voice is at 80 hertz. You struggle around 210 in M1. 210, let me remind myself. That's just below A3, right? In fact, no, I don't even need to look for it. A3 is 220, so I am correct there. Clara, I feel like I've definitely heard you. Maybe not. I feel like I've heard you above 210 in M1. I feel like 210, it should be pretty okay at M1. We'd be getting closer to like the 300 hertz level. Try to stick with using notes instead of hertz, because it's, personally, I just know it better, frankly. But also, it doesn't matter really, but like the gaps in your hertz are going to be bigger and bigger and bigger as you go up, because it's a logarithmic thing. So it can just be a bit easier to communicate with people if you're using notation. But yeah, I would expect you to be able to get quite a bit higher than 210 in M1. I think that's around right. That's got to be about A3-ish. Yes, that's pretty easy for me in M1. Ah, I wouldn't be entering M2 until like ah. So what's that like? Wasn't much higher. Yeah, so around 275-ish, C sharp 4 is where I start switching into M2. Can't be resisting M2? Yeah, for sure, for sure. Charles will yell at you and call you fake. True. Only learned how to barely whistle after one of Savvy's lessons. Yo, I can't whistle. I've never learned how to whistle. Okay, I'm going to be right back because I really need the toilet. So I'll see you in a sec. Lol, I forgot to unmute my mic. Lamal. Okay, let me put some music on because none of you reminded me. Let's put some background music on. Gosh darn it, guys. Music, 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 music. There you are. Did I make a big music folder? I did not. Okay, let's see. Can I... No, I can't do that. Okay, well for now, let's just stick that on. Oh, I've just thought, does my music player have a separate volume gauge? Okay, hang on a sec, this is going to mess with the volume a bit. Okay, I want this over here, and then turn the music down more. Okay, how's that music level compared to my voice? Do we need it a bit lower, or is it okay? Or is it actually completely fucked for you guys now? It shouldn't be totally fucked, but let me know. Should be fine? Okay, cool. Yeah, it doesn't look like my volume mixer stuff has persisted, which I've never come across being a thing. Oh, Chrome did, but I never did Windows Media Player, I guess, for some reason. Cool, okay. Wow, my voice is really tired now, holy fuck. Blah. Anyone else watch film Critters? Film Critters. Barry's voice is wonderful and was one of the things that inspired you to take your voice training seriously again after losing hope in social/work situations. I've never heard of Film Critters. I have no idea what that is. Why are you being recommended this? Well, maybe that's because of things that you are interested in, Dr. Kitten. But regardless, that sounds like an easy ban for me because I'm pretty sure that is not the most positive of comments. So many people will jump in and be like, why the fuck am I being recommended this shit? And it's like, well, you know, algorithm is based on what you typically watch. So, you know, maybe there's a little hint about what you're interested in. Maybe YouTube's trying to tell you something. Trying to show you a little mirror in front of your face. If you're finding yourself in some trans spaces that you're not expecting to be in, maybe you should reflect on that for a moment, you know? Fucking dipshit. Okay, alright. We're a little bit caught up on chat now. Also, it seems like just the stream's picking up a little bit of pace these days. We're getting recommended more, which is cool. Okay, today's stream plan. Oh, actually, before we go into today's stream plan, let's have a little story time. Because, oh my god, Zara has had a couple of fucking days. Oh, these have been days indeed. So, okay. First of all, 2 days ago, alright? So, Monday. I guess Sunday night, which would lead to Monday. Wait, have I got that right? Monday, leading to Tuesday, leading to today. Yes, so Sunday night, I slept bad. And that's pretty normal for me. Every so often. Oh, hang on. Ugh! Timing. Right at story time, my dog is barking. Okay, I'll be right back while I just check on her. You can have the music still. Hello, I return. Might change your stream title to something just chatting. Yeah, you're right. How do I change a stream title when I'm on YouTube? Because I'm pretty sure that's a little bit trickier. Yeah, do people know how to do that? Because I'm not so sure that I do. If I open up my YouTube studio, can I do it within here? Okay, YouTube Studio can't even tell that I'm live somehow. What? Content. Live. There we go. Details. Title. Yo, okay, I can change it. Okay, that's a decent title. Okay. There you go. Spoilers about story time. When you switch to the BRB screen, the music from the scene gets layered with music from media player. Oh, true. I didn't even think about that. No, that's easy to fix. I just need to mute the BRB sound music. Maybe we take BRB music off of that, knowing that we'd already have music there. I don't know. Give me your thoughts, I guess. Yes, okay, story time. Okay, so Sunday night, I just have a typical night of Zara barely sleeps. So I got about 5 hours sleep, which is enough for me to get by. And then the next day, so that would be Monday just gone, I'm feeling a little bit of like mild toothache. I'm assuming that I just caught it, like not toothache, but like just some discomfort. And in my mind, it's just like, oh, I must have caught something when I was brushing my teeth. Maybe it just was a slight cut or something. No big deal. And I don't worry about it. That kind of builds through the day and is whatever. Then that night, oh my fucking god. Holy shit. It is toothache. Yeah, it was irritation during the day. And then at night, fucking explosion in this side of my mouth. Fucking hell. Like, if I sleep on my side, I have to sleep just for other reasons. I have to sleep on my back, but like if my head is to the side, like if my head has pressure here, or if I'm lying on either of my like cheeks, that's an immediate no-go. That hurts like hell. If I'm like laying kind of like that hurts like hell. I had to specifically lay like that, so I'm like that against the bed, and that was the only position that or at least that was the least painful position. Holy fuck, I was in so much pain all fucking night. So I got like, it kind of ended up being I would be in pain for an hour until I eventually like just fell asleep despite the pain for about an hour, and then I would wake up in pain. And then so it was sort of every hour I would wake up again and be awake for an hour. Ended up being, I think I got about 3 hours sleep because I ended up also just getting up early because I was like, fuck this. Because I think laying down was making it worse because there's like slight pressure wherever I am on my head. And as soon as they opened, I fucking rang the dentist like, listen, shit's fucked. Please get me in. And because they classify it as an emergency, when you have sudden onset of toothache, I was able to get something same day, which was awesome. It was that morning, which was very good. Now in my mind, because I've had a root canal over on this side, because I had the way my teeth are laid out at the top is where my incisor is, just next to my incisor. So the very first set of molars were like super cramped up, such that I had like a triangle, like how can I, let's just load up paint real quick. So if I go over to here, so I have, bear with my terrible drawing skills, okay? Remember this is the top teeth, so, you know, teeth, fucking teeth, whatever. But if you look at it from a top down, okay, so you're looking from like this sort of scope, I had a set of teeth, my first molars, where it's like, there's a tooth, and there's a tooth. Obviously, that's a problem. And it wasn't quite like that, it was more like, there's a tooth, there's a tooth, and there's a tooth. So slight gap in the middle, and this is like slightly pushed in with them. I'm not good at drawing, especially with a mouse, but that's roughly what I was dealing with. So dentist decided, okay, this one comes out, so I had that removed. So I then have just, so as my teeth are right now, it's there's a tooth, slight gap, and there's a tooth. But because of this situation, we have this, let's try to make this not too disgusting, but it's going to be a bit disgusting. We have this gap here where compacted food would build up, and I couldn't brush it because it wasn't possible to brush within that gap. It just wasn't possible. There's no possible way to do it. It could kind of get cleaned out when the dentist would clean it, but even then they can't clear it out properly. It just was not possible to clean that area. So because of that, once they removed the tooth, they found that actually I had a slight cavity that had built. What could we use to symbolize a cavity? We'll go purple, because why not? We had a slight cavity that had built over here, okay, with this tooth, okay? So in case you can't tell, that's this tooth that had the cavity. So that had to have a cavity filled, had to get a filling, and a cap put over that. All good, no problem. Let's bring chat back up because I can no longer see you guys. Which one of these is my chat? There you are. Put that over there so it doesn't distract you guys. Yeah, so we have a filling, we have a tooth removed, everything's fine. However, that filling, it fell out, which can happen sometimes. We did have some issues with this filling. First of all, the tooth that I was having removed, it did not leave well. It was a huge struggle getting it out. For whatever reason, it just didn't want to come out. I have fucking hardcore teeth, I guess. It really didn't want to come out. We had a lot of issues getting it out. And similarly, we had a ton of issues getting this filling to actually seal on and graft on properly. And it seems like 6 months later, it came out, so it probably just didn't actually get a proper seal on it. Here's where the problem comes in. My dentist, for some insane reason, doesn't class a filling falling out as an emergency, despite the fact that you now have a hole in your tooth. Now again, we didn't have an issue there, because before, this tooth was kind of covering that cavity, okay? So it wasn't an immediate issue, which is why I'd gone so long, or, I mean, I have no idea how long this cavity was there for, but presumably I'd gone a while without having any issues because of the cavity. Now that tooth is out and the whole area's been cleared away, after the filling leaves, the entire area is completely exposed to any bacteria that wants to wandering into my tooth. Alright? So as you can imagine, within the month I waited before I could actually get it addressed, I had a fucking infection. Now, it wasn't as obvious or apparent at the time, because you don't know if a tooth has an infection, the tooth itself, until it starts causing issues. No, actually, that's a complete lie. No, I remember what was happening now. No, we had an infection, and it was causing issues. And what they did was, once I had actually gotten booked in, it wasn't with my usual dentist, it was just with the soonest person that had a gap. They put a temporary filling in until I could have a future booking, which was with my actual dentist, to just review and see what's going on at this current situation. Because we've had a situation happen, we need to just take a look at what state are we now in with my actual dentist, Wendy. So Wendy takes a look at it, and yep, we have a problem here. The reason that I am in pain is because not only has the bacteria come in and started attacking the nerve, that's where the pain comes in, but the reason I am starting to no longer feel the pain is because the nerve's dead, and it's gone. The entire nerve has been destroyed by the bacteria because I had to fucking wait so long. Which means root canal. So they cut off the top of your tooth. They cut off this, like say that's the top of your tooth, they cut that off, okay? Remove it, and then drill into the tooth and just remove all of the stuff inside, including the nerve. Because again, the nerve's dead. It's gone, discarded. So obviously you have local anesthetic during this. And yeah, they just drill it all out and replace it with some synthetic stuff. And then replace the cap back on, the crown. Now, eventually I need to get my crown replaced because root canal typically makes the crown quite brittle. So I'm at a reasonably high risk of my crown shattering. But frankly, I can't afford to get that replaced right now because the good one is about 800 quid. For me, that's a huge amount of money. So I gotta wait until I have that money, I guess, just spare, which is probably gonna take a while, but hopefully my crown doesn't shatter in the meantime. Have not had any issues yet, and this was like 6 months ago, so I should be okay for a little while at least. But yeah, so yeah, I was worried that it was another situation because I'd had root canal. I'd had the lead up before root canal where the tooth itself is affected and the nerve is being attacked, and this felt exactly the same because it was like a sort of pain within the tooth, deep in the gum. Okay, so I'm bricking it all night, So I'm like highly stressed because I'm like, fuck, is my tooth fucked? Am I gonna have to have a fucking root canal? Because like ideally, I don't want to have root canal. That's a situation. That means something's become very fucked up. Maybe I haven't been cleaning things properly. Something has happened so that like a tooth has become infected. The fucking nerve is being attacked, and like, fuck, that's a situation. It's a very expensive situation to deal with as well. So my hope was that like maybe, just maybe, because I'm in such pain, that means that the nerve is still very much healthy and intact and being attacked, meaning that they can just give me antibiotics and it'll fix it. So I rock up to the dentist. It's an emergency one, so it's not my usual dentist. It's a dude called Mark, who was lovely. I'll say more about that later. Checks through my teeth. All my teeth are completely fine and healthy. Thank fuck. And he just does a full check. As he's checking, one of the checks he does is pressing on my gums at the back of my teeth, because my wisdom teeth haven't come through yet, so there are still like gums there for where my wisdom teeth will one day come through. He presses down on there, and oh my god, that hurt, which immediately clued him on to exactly what's going on here. And as I checked this morning, you can actually see in my upper left, for me this is my left, for my upper left gum, you can actually see a tooth starting to poke out. My wisdom teeth are coming through. So they gave it an x-ray to see, one, is that definitely what's happening, that the wisdom teeth are coming through, and two, how are they coming through? Because wisdom teeth, as a lot of you may know, are really shit. They are the least wise of your teeth. They can come in sideways, they can come in upside down, they can have all sorts of issues, okay? And my mum's did go in sideways, and she had to get hers removed because they were growing sideways. So we do the x-ray, results come back through, and the tooth is completely fine. It's perfectly straight. It's growing just from the bottom, growing upwards, exactly as you would expect a tooth to grow. Everything's fine there. All that's happened is just as it's growing, because it's still emerging from the gums, it's not really possible to clean it properly as you're brushing your teeth, so it's gotten a slight infection. Super common. Most people will have this, and if your tooth grows in a weird position, you might just regularly just have a small infection that comes in just every so often, and that might just be a regular occurrence. So like my boyfriend, just every so often, I think he's now had his wisdom tooth removed. I can't remember. There was a reason why he doesn't get them anymore, and I don't remember. But he was just, every so often, he would just get an infection over that, and he'd be in pain for a few days. But obviously this is the first time it's happened, so it is the most painful. He tells me if it is something is a recurring thing, each time will be less painful than the last, which thank fuck. Which I guess makes sense because your immune system is becoming more like attuned to this particular thing that's infecting you, and so it can kill it off quicker. So yeah, that's what it was. It's just a small infection. It's not a big deal. The pain is massively out of proportion with what is actually happening. I've done nothing wrong in terms. I kept everything perfectly clean. He tried to make it really clear that like your teeth are actually in really good condition. My wisdom teeth just got an infection. It's not even the tooth; it's just the gum. But obviously that feels like the same place because if it's a deep, the nerve root that's being attacked, then it's right in the root of your tooth, so up in your gums. So the location just felt the same. It had that same explosive pain. So it's just very swollen right now, which is why I can't close my mouth properly. I can, but it hurts, and it can slowly over time lock up, opening my mouth wide. Like if I go like from about there, it starts to hurt. If I keep going like, that starts to hurt quite a lot. So just every so often, I'm basically doing that just to loosen things up again. Because like the first morning, I was speaking with a slur. I could barely talk until when I brushed my teeth. I just had to open it wide enough to be able to brush my teeth, which got a little bit of mobility. And yeah, it's just a swelling issue. So yeah, he's told me to for the next couple of days wash it out with salt water. to see if my natural immune system can fight this off, and just regularly wash out of salt water. And if I struggle with that and it doesn't seem to knock it back, then I've got a prescription for antibiotics as well, and just go straight for the antibiotics because I don't want to like let this linger and become a bigger issue. But I do want my immune system to get some exposure and some opportunity to fight it itself, for the sake of my immune system. So yeah, that's the situation I've been going through for the past couple of days. So for people in my Discord, if you've noticed that I've been a bit less active, that's why. Because Monday I was just already really tired from only getting 5 hours sleep the previous night. Just something that happens every so often, part of life as Zara. I've not yet figured out the whole sleeping thing at 28 years old. And then 2, yesterday, I was in pain all day and I'd had 3 hours sleep. So it's like 8 hours sleep across 2 days. So I was just going through it. But yeah, there's story time. That's been my last couple of days. But yeah, hopefully it'll sort itself out over the next couple of days. At the longest, maybe like at the end of a week. Because at that point I'll have switched to antibiotics and Velo have done their thing. He even said like the antibiotics will probably sort it out in a couple of days, or like 2 or 3 days. So just as soon as it is sorted out, stop the antibiotics. Don't like continue taking them, because you want to like have that as minimal time as possible. Yeah, that's been my couple of days. But hey, wisdom teeth. I guess I'm finally getting my wisdom teeth. Honestly, I thought I was just gonna not have wisdom teeth. Like, I thought that was just gonna not happen because like I'm 28. Like, how is it? How do I not have wisdom teeth yet? Most people have it in their early 20s, and I just didn't. And then yeah, they're now finally coming through. So yeah, the upper left wisdom tooth, you can see it. It's penetrated the gum already, and that's where there's been that issue. And then the other ones, I guess, are just making their way. I think I have a little bit of swelling and a little bit of pain in the lower one, but not significant. So I think that's just it emerging. But who knows? Maybe that's got an infection too. But I mean, as I'm washing this out with salt water, that entire side gets washed out, and I kind of swill the rest of it as well, just in case. So yeah. ADHD folks can often get melatonin prescribed if you're after that. Never worked for you, but cost you now. It's covered under the same single NHS charge as the LVADs. I asked about that, and I was told no, I could not have that because I'm not having any mood issues. And apparently they can't prescribe unless there's mood issues because it can be addictive, apparently. Which is frustrating. I would love to try melatonin or something. I might reapproach it at some point with my GP because my GP is also a bit trash. I should maybe change GPs because they kind of suck at everything. Oh, there was the other thing I wanted to talk about as well with a dentist. So I had an amazing experience with a dentist. Not only was the issue so much less of an issue than I thought, and so much more of just like, oh yeah, this is pretty normal, don't even worry about it. Here's some basic stuff to fix it, and then it'll be gone. That aside, my fucking dentist was wonderful. So I haven't seen them since last year, like 2024, and I only started living full time as myself, as Zara, this year, because it was like, that was what I'd said to myself, just 2025, we dropped boy mode, we dropped my old name, full-time transition. And yes, they hadn't seen me yet, but I wasn't sure of that. I couldn't remember if I'd updated them or not. So when I rang, I was like, oh, hey, could I make an appointment? Here's what's going on. List out all of what was going on. And at that point, it was like, yeah, okay, can I get a name for that? And it was, I said, oh, under Zara Lamont Rodriguez? Paused for a moment, heard that they couldn't really find it. It was like, oh, it might be under Zachary, actually. I've transitioned since then. And that was all I said on it. And she was like, oh, okay, yeah, no worries. Went through it. And she was like, yeah, that's totally fine. Could I also check your address? And then, like, in case that needs updating as well. And yeah, it did need updating. So updated my address. And then that was totally fine. and that was all there was to it. And then when I went there, I saw the dude. I saw Mark pull up my notes, my profile or whatever it is that you call that, and they'd already changed my. They changed it to Miss Zara Lamont Rodriguez. They changed my sex to female. They'd literally just done everything. In that tiny conversation, they'd completely done everything. And when I got there, it does say name changed from Zachary to Zara. Presumably, sort of the dentist knows, like, hey, this is a trans person, so biologically male, but, you know, refer to them as she, her. Here's their name. So they have a medical side as well as, like, how to treat me. And Mark, clearly, this is probably his first trans patient. So he was like, hey, I feel really awkward asking this. I really hope it's not insensitive to ask, but should I be calling you Zachary or Zara? And I was like, yeah, it's just Zara. Don't worry about it. And he was being so careful and so, like, very intentionally trying to be as, like, I guess just, like, accepting as possible, which was just nice to see. Like, he clearly didn't really know how he was supposed to approach it. And was clearly really trying to do his best, and it was just nice. So yeah, it was just really cool. He was super friendly. He was clearly he felt a bit unsure. Oh, see you, Mara. Thanks for coming. Have a good shower. But he was clearly trying really hard, and like I did my best to put him at ease. Like, hey, yeah, it's totally fine. So yeah, so the name's Zara. So she, her. The surname isn't changed at all, so it's just Zara Lamont Rodriguez, and just kind of laid it out for him so that he had the information to work off, and like reassure him, but like it's okay, you can ask these questions, it's totally fine. So yeah, it was just an overall nice experience. And in terms of like the transition-y stuff, it was literally just like literally me staying just over the phone, like, oh yeah, I've transitioned to Zara now. That updated their entire system. And then just before I left, they wanted me to fill out a form of my medical history just to like update that for anything that needed updating. And that was it. That was the entirety of it. It was just so stress-free, so chill, so great. Yeah, my dentist is an expensive dentist. Yo!
I crave death. Subscribe to the channel.
Oh, fuck. Yo, I crave death. Thank you so much for the subscription. I just knocked my headphones out again. But Wyatt is a little bit short in his headphones, so I'm going to keep doing that over and over again. Yo, I crave death. Thank you so much for the subscription. That's really cool of you. Yeah, so, yeah, the dentist was just so, like, simple for transition-y stuff. I should be here in frame. Oh, that was super loud, was it? I can turn that down. Actually, I don't have that in my audio mixer. I don't know how I... Wait, why is that not in my audio mixer? So it should be down as YouTube alerts. Yeah, why is that not in my... I'm not sure how to control the volume of that, I'll be completely honest with you. I'll look into that in between streams, because there may be something that I can set up on the Streamlabs part of that, or Stream Elements, whichever I use for it, to sort that out. But yeah, I'll check on that source strings. Yeah, fair enough. Super loud. But yeah, so it was just super chill, and that was really nice. Because what I'm used to so far is my GP, which are a fucking nightmare in every way. So like, just in every way, everything with transition, they are just all the roadblocks possible. They're a nightmare. The doctors never so like initially, like way early on, I'd brought in my deed poll once I'd made that, and been like, hey, can we change my name to Zara, please? And immediately I just gone to the main reception and be like, oh, let's get you off to the what do they call it? The like the private reception place, confidential. Yeah. Basically like sensitive topics. That was it, sensitive topics area. And I'm like, okay, sure. I've clearly, in full confidence, just gone up to you and requested this. I clearly am not feeling like this has to be some like really quiet, really like confidential situation, but this is not a sensitive situation. But whatever, fine. You clearly seem to need that, so we'll do that. Hand them for deed poll for them to take a photocopy of, and then they kind of take a little while, and then they come back and hand me back the deed poll, and they're like, okay, so we don't really know how to change your name on the system. I don't think we can do that. What we can do is we can put a note against your name, and so that, like, when people bring up your file, they can then see, oh, please call her Zara, and please say her and she and all that sort of thing. Which at the time, I was like, not wanting to cause issues and be like, oh, okay, I guess that's fine, and left. What I since have learned is, like, that's illegal. No, they have to change it. That they are, like, breaking the fucking Equality Act by denying me that. So we're going to be going back in. I'm going to be bringing my boyfriend in to be, like, fucking my muscle, I guess, to just, like, make sure I actually stand on that and, like, make sure that by the time I leave, they have changed it. And I do not leave unless they've changed it. And he's my backup for that. Sort of accountability buddy or whatever. But yeah, so there's that. And then past that, like, every appointment with a doctor so far since then, they still haven't got my name right, even though it's clearly on my file. Every nurse, so, like, whenever my bloods are done, they're perfect with it, and it's not an issue, and I never have issues when I'm having my bloods done. But when I have, like, something that's for something separate, there's just issues. They don't seem to read my file, I guess. I don't know what it is. I don't know if the doctors are just too rushed to read my file properly, or if they just don't give a fuck, or I don't understand at all. But the nurses seem to do totally fine of just, like, using my fucking name, and the doctors don't. They just always use my old name. And then there's also just been, like, constant issues with shared care stuff. My GP just does not want to do fucking shared care. We'll be finding out soon how they do with shared care with my ADHD stuff, because I haven't gone for private, but I have gone for, because the ADHD waiting list is so long, the NHS has contracted out some private clinics to deal with some of their cases. So I'm working through a private clinic, but funded by the NHS. So it still ends up being a shared care situation. So we just have to see what my GP does with that. Will they do shared care? Are they just like, we will not do fucking shared care ever? Or is it just shared care for trans people? For fucking trans shit to transition you? No thank you. So I guess we'll find out what happens with that. Either way, NHS is going to be paying for it, and it's my normal £9 thing because I'm as an NHS patient for this private clinic. But it's just a matter of whether I can just get a repeat prescription through my GP as you normally would, or if I have to go through ordering it online through my private clinic, still only spending the same amount. So at least money-wise, it won't matter. And to be honest, I actually prefer the idea of ordering online because it just gets delivered to my door in a few days, and it's like actually a way simpler system. But it will make for a nice little test. So yeah, that's the comparison that I have. That's why I was expecting it to be way more of a thing, going to the dentist, and it just wasn't. Like, I didn't even look great. Like, my makeup wasn't on. I don't think I'd shaved beforehand, because I was like too just in pain and tired. And there was just no issue at all. There was just no issue at all. They were just so chill. Yeah, it was just, yeah, there was just no anything. It was great. All right, what is chat saying about all this? It's a common thing you hear with Transbits and UK healthcare / GPs. Yeah. It seems like GPs specifically, there's just an issue, I guess. You remember how you got into a psychiatric hospital for 2 weeks? Upon arrival, nurse asked, as you whispering, he said, sorry, what? And she just repeated, You asked what again? She took a piece of paper and wrote "sex change?" ? Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's okay. We're not that bad here. At least I haven't come across anybody having that much of an issue here. But yeah, like people know that transgender people exist, I guess. So I guess on that level, but we're okay. Familiar with the concept. You can't ask them stuff. You have to fully educate them on how anything works. It sucks. Yeah. Yours declined shared care after they suggested the company you use. Best of luck. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, this is specifically, like, even with this private company I'm with them via the NHS. Like, I'm with them through Right to Choose. So this is like, they are operating through an NHS contract. The NHS has hired them to do my diagnosis. So we'll just see whether that still is okay. From what I've heard, there's been some top-down push to just always reject shared care regardless of circumstance. I don't know where that's come from or why that's a thing, but apparently there's just been that push in the NHS towards GPs for some reason. There is definitely some truth to the idea that private clinicians are very quick to diagnose and very quick to put people on medications. So like I can get that element of it, but like that doesn't mean that the people that they diagnose are like shouldn't be diagnosed. Like I definitely have ADHD. It's super obvious, and like my behavior changes completely in a very positive way when I'm on medication. The medication clearly seems to work well for me. So like, yeah, maybe there is like it's one of those where, and it's the case in all of these common ones, like trans people with like gender dysphoria being the diagnosis, ADHD, possibly with autism, I don't know as much, but like a variety of different things. Like it's both over and underdiagnosed in that like for a lot of people that shouldn't be ADHD is a big one for this. There's a lot of people that shouldn't really have gotten a diagnosis that have, and there's a lot of people that haven't but definitely should, which is like a whole thing. And I think I'd rather to try to solve for the people that aren't getting diagnosed and allow for some more overdiagnosis, because like in terms of the risk benefit for that, like if you are undiagnosed ADHD, the difference between you being medicated and you not is like huge. Like it's life changing. Whereas if you don't really be needing the meds and are taking them anyway, my understanding is that doesn't necessarily cause you that much issue. And if it does, like, okay, you know it causes you issues, so you just come off the meds. And so like problem solved, you know? Like it's a self-correcting situation. So like, yeah, I don't know if I feel like we should be leaning more to more or less stringent diagnoses. Especially because like I saw an AMA on Reddit about how we diagnose here, and despite the fact that we go through several stages of what's it called, where they basically just ask you a list of questions and you get answered, you answer how you answer, and then that basically filters you, like they add up the score and that sends you off. You go through like several steps of that until you see like a professional to do a more complete thing. But even for professionals, all they're actually doing is, again, a list of questions. It's just a more extensive list of questions. So a GP could do that, because it's just read off this piece of paper, add up a score at the end, here's your diagnosis. So like if that's what the professionals are doing, if that's what specialists are doing, then like I don't see why the GPs couldn't fucking do that. And that would help so much, because in one appointment you could be diagnosed. Like, and the benefits of that would be so huge. I also think there's an issue of just identification. Like, I really do think we should be training school teachers to be like, at least secondary school teachers, to just be aware of some of the basic symptoms, so that like, because the school teacher's with you every day, 5 days a week, like 9 till 4, I think it normally is, or 9 till 3. So they get pretty attuned to you. Like, they get attuned enough to be able to give you a parent's evening feedback. And I fully believe that that is enough, that you could also give a suggestion of ADHD and just be like, oh, hey, maybe you want to get this checked out. And that's like all it is. Just like in my voice lessons with people. Enough that I would be able to say like, hey, maybe you should take a look at this. And that's it. And that's all that it is. I feel like we should definitely be pushing teachers more in that direction and giving them some basic training on it. Because, like, if you just... I think you could probably give me a positive... Or at least you could give me, like, this person's probably got ADHD just through my parents giving feedbacks. Like, that alone would be enough for somebody to suspect it. Like, it was regularly, needs to get their head out of clouds, needs to focus more, needs to pay attention in class, needs to be more organized. That was a big one. And all of these things are like, this person has inattentive style ADHD or inattentive type ADHD. It's like so, like, textbook. So if the feedback at parents even enough is like a textbook definition of inattentive ADHD, then like I feel like they should at least be able to suggest it and be like, maybe, you know, I don't know. It seems like such a useful thing because, like, man, if you can get that dealt with while you're still in the education system, that's going to make such a huge difference to you. Like, I guarantee you, I would have a degree right now if I had been diagnosed before university, at least. I'd probably have been in a better university. To be honest, I probably wouldn't be here giving you lessons because I'd already be a successful like programmer or something if I had just been given meds like earlier than pre-university, even like during my first year of university. At some point along that path, if I'd been given ADHD meds, huge change immediately. Almost certainly I passed my degree or finished my degree, and yeah, almost certainly ending up as a programmer, earning a lot more than I've ever earned at any point in my life. So yeah, you know, and I've obviously ended up finding something that works, and like that's fine. And I found this before medication, but like, goddamn, my life would be like materially so much better if I had been just giving these meds. Like, if it wasn't for me getting lucky and finding that I have a passion for teaching voice, I would still be miserable doing the gardening that I was doing before, just hating my life, or like I'd have switched out for just a minimum wage job, just anything that I could get at like a beginner entry level job, just to fucking like earn a minimum wage. Like, goddamn. My goal for the past few years is getting myself to the equivalent of a full-time minimum wage salary. That's been like the level. But none of that would have been the case if I'd just been given ADHD meds. So yeah, I think we need to like encourage some basic training for teachers. Because as much as we feel like I hear a lot for like, teachers already have so much like piled onto them, and that's true. But this, I don't feel, would have to pile on anything new that they aren't already doing, because they're already looking for these things when they are giving feedback for students. They're already looking out for like, is this person, do they seem lazy? Do they never get their homework done? Do they seem really disorganized? They're already looking out for these things and talking to students about it. All of the stuff that they would need to do, they're already doing. It literally is just the addition of, that pattern? Oh, no, you need, that might actually be an ADHD thing. That's it. That's all the extra that they need. That's it. It would take like a single training. That's it. Because they're not diagnosing you. They're just saying like, maybe like ask a doctor about this. And that's it. That's the entirety of it. Yeah. Just like a little basic thing. I think it would like change. Genuinely, I feel like it could change like the country's productivity in a large way. Because suddenly we're treating way more ADHD people way sooner while they're getting their education. So that their education system, their experience of education is like vastly improved. Yeah. Again, I'm going on rambles and then just not reading chat at all. So waiting everyone's time and money, wanting a second assessment. Current assessments are seeing patients from 2021, so 4+ year waiting list. Yeah, so in terms of ADHD stuff, I had 3 different assessments before I had my actual assessment. The way they're doing it right now with the NHS, I'm just gonna take my headphones off and you guys can enjoy the music and I won't bother with it because holy shit. I can lightly hear it from my speakers, but it's not loud enough that you'll be able to hear it, I'm pretty sure. I guess let me know if there is an echo. Wow, that sounds so different after having my headphones in for so long. But yeah, so the current system to try to reduce the waiting lists is basically people with less training just go through a screening. That's what I was looking for. There's a screening process. So you get screened 3 times. And that is basically, do you go to the next step or do we stop you here? Because we know you don't have ADHD. Yeah, so you just go through 3 screening processes before you have your actual assessment. And to be honest, in my experience was every screening was the exact same. And then when I moved over to right to choose, because I was like, oh shit, I can just do right to choose. It was the exact same. I just had the exact same interview 3 times, and it was like, okay. And then at the end I had it. Like, okay, sure. Now, in, like, my case might be slightly different because I seem to have a very clear ADHD. Like, I have almost like textbook inattentive type ADHD. I have pretty bad ADHD, I guess. But like, still, there's too much in this system, and it's clear because the waiting list is fucking enormous. Yeah, there clearly has to be a change because otherwise the waiting list isn't declining; it's only increasing. So something has to be done about it. I don't know. Boop, 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 boop. As you say though, it's beneficial really. You stay with online clinic and get private home delivery. Yeah, in terms of meds and stuff. Yeah, it is actually quite a handy system with meds. There's still a chance that your official F21 diagnosis is a misdiagnosis. It may as well be real, maybe both F21 and ASD. There's not much trust in local doctors, so... Oh yeah, that's gonna suck, yeah. Yeah, at least we don't have that situation. At least not as bad as other countries. I don't know what F21 is. Oh, I remember you telling me you have like buckets. You have this weird bucket system that anything that is brain stuff fits into in your country. You went to your GP last week and had the talk with him. Oh, fun. He was very supportive, but made it clear he would only support NHS care and not private shared care. Yeah, the NHS system is... The NHS system as it is just hates working with private care and is very unsupportive of private care, even though, like, I do not understand why this is. Like, they should be fully, like, encouraging private care to fucking ease off burden on the NHS. Like, our NHS is, like, really struggling with it's not keeping up with demand, and it's really struggling on that degree. Why don't you encourage people working with private care to ease off the burden? It's nuts to me. It's absolutely nuts. But yeah, that's the current situation. Yeah, so the lists are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Our whole system, since switching to NHS, obviously it's awesome, but we have an NHS. Don't get me wrong. And it's a very enviable thing that we have that, and it's really cool. But there's a lot of issues that just haven't been addressed, that aren't even being looked at. A big one being that the NHS is like at war with private care for some reason. I do not understand why. There's no good reason that it should be. But there you go. I think there's just like an elitism that like, oh, private care is just like you pay for a diagnosis. When it's like, it's not necessarily true. You're going to have some that aren't very reputable, obviously. But they're all under standards. Everybody is under legal standard. Otherwise you'll lose your medical license. So, I don't know. And look at like, where is the best healthcare in the world? It's in America. It's expensive as fuck, and that's why it's the best healthcare. But it is a fully private system, and if you want the best care in the world, you get it in America. It's clear that private care is not like an inherently bad thing. Like they seem to have gotten some pretty fucking good care over there in a system that's fully privatized. Comes with it being very expensive, and private care is very expensive, prohibitively so for some people, depending on what it is that you're trying to treat. Which is why I would rather have our system. But that doesn't mean we should just like say fuck all private care. Like it's a useful thing, and if you can afford it, like great, we should encourage that. I don't understand, but hey, that's just the UK right now. Yeah. You had a 2-hour interview and a 30-minute video / AI assessment. That's crazy. In which it's watching your eye movements and reactions to the screen. That's nuts. I have heard of AI being used more and more in diagnosis. Sorry. And I think there's a lot of fear and pushback on it. I think AI obviously has a bit of a PR problem. But from what I've heard, like the AI ability to diagnose people is getting to a point now where it's like surpassing doctor performances. So like, Jesus, if you can better diagnose something with AI, fucking do that, because that saves on resources massively. Like you can have freaking most of the population getting diagnosed at the same time, depending on like server capacities and something. Like you can do a lot more than you can do with GPs in terms of just resources. So shit, if they can make that work, then fuck yeah. That would fix a waiting list issue. Whole spectrum of ADHD, much like autism, yeah, for sure. You've looked a fair amount of ADHD. You've looked after a fair amount of ADHD children over the years. Yeah, and in going back to the teacher thing, like I'm not saying that this will help for all cases, but it will for some. You know, for the more textbook cases, at least if they can help with that, that's people being helped. You know. It just seems like a no-brainer to me. It doesn't mean that everybody with ADHD is suddenly going to get caught out as a child, but at least some will, which is only a good thing, you know? Costs so many $1,000s to get to even get mental health / ADHD autism screenings in the US. Yeah. I know in the US it can be really expensive. But then you have like insurance for that, and like the system is meant to be such that you use insurance for that sort of thing, which has gotten better, especially after Obama. After waiting for a couple of years for an ASD assessment, ASD? Attention. Wait, what's ASD? I know ADD, attention deficit disorder. I know ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder. I don't think I know ASD. ASD assessment. They said it wasn't ASD, but my dyslexia, which feels like a fob off to you. Yeah, possibly. I don't know. Oh, autism spectrum disorder. That makes sense. Yeah, and there's going to be different trust in different healthcare providers and stuff. And there's always going to be people that get misdiagnosed as well. You can always get a second opinion if you feel like it's off. Might also just be that you have dyslexia, though. Like, you know, be open to that possibility. But by all means, get a second opinion if you need one. F21 is schizotypal disorder. Makes sense. So does anything that I assume anything that includes like delusions or anything like that. I hope they're not putting fucking trans stuff in there, but whatever. I guess other countries can be a little bit fucky. US healthcare is expensive due to insurance willing to pay high prices. It's a complicated situation. It's a really complicated situation. It's not just that insurance are willing to pay high prices. Like they want to pay out as well. Oh, it's complicated. They try to pay out like appropriately. But they're not the ones choosing for prices. For a start, insurance aren't choosing for prices. The doctor chooses the price. Obviously, insurance companies are always going to pressure companies to charge as little as possible, so that they don't have to fucking pay out a shit ton. You do also have a thing though of, and this is a good law. You do have a thing of, in America, to be an insurance company, a minimum of, I think it's specifically for healthcare, a minimum of 80% of your income has to be spent, like your gross income has to go out as payouts. So that kind of de-incentivizes insurance companies to like reject payouts for monetary reasons. There is a big idea that insurance companies will reject people more because it affects their bottom line, and they are like motivated to not pay out on things. And that's not actually true in America. Specifically when we're talking healthcare, at least. Was just there's so much regulation to prevent that it's actually not a thing at all. They have no motivation to to boost their profits, because they would end up just being in breach of the law and just get shut down entirely, which obviously completely destroys your profits because your company no longer exists. So that's actually not a thing at all in US healthcare. But yeah, the reason prices are higher in the US is quite complicated. One, just a private system does cost more. A fully private system, it just costs more. Everywhere you have a private system, it costs more to do that per head. But also you have things like you do have the insurance system existing, which is going to slightly inflate prices. You also have situations, America just will always pay more for healthcare because they have the most modern healthcare. So in order for modern healthcare to be exported around the world, like it's being invented in America, it starts in America. So they're kind of they have first market access, which means they have the more expensive market access. Like if you get the latest, greatest smartphone, it's the most expensive smartphone as well. And if you wait a couple of years, it goes down in price. And that's the exact same thing that's happening. America gets the latest and greatest healthcare, and they have to spend more to have that, because that's where it's being produced. They are a economy of innovation. That's why they have like Silicon Valley and all of that stuff. So there's that element to it. There's also, America is one of the strongest, the strongest economy in the world. It's a very, very wealthy country, so they get charged more because there's more money. And by them paying more, it means that other countries don't have to pay as much. So the reason why third world countries can still have healthcare, and they'll have the exact same healthcare, but cheaper, is because that money is being made up by richer countries being charged more. Don't get me wrong, America would still save money if they switched to a public healthcare system. That's been very clearly shown. However, they will probably always be paying the most per person in the world because they're the richest country in the world, so of course they are. So yeah, and also they have the first market. It's a whole complicated situation, basically. I think people try to massively oversimplify why healthcare is expensive in America, and it's a very complicated situation with healthcare in America. There's a lot of factors at play. But yeah. Oh yeah, that's just a random point that I'm seeing in chat. There's so much talk of medical vacationing in the US, Americans going to other countries. Oh, to afford treatment. I thought you were talking about something else. There is a thing in ADHD where people are told to, if you feel the effects wearing off, like take a break from have a medication vacation or whatever, and like don't take your meds for a few days to like reset. And that is some very weird advice to me, because ADHD medication has a really short half-life. It wears off within the same day you're taking it, and it's gone. But there is still a thing of your body adapting to it somewhat. The main thing that happens is you can sometimes get a bit of a high for the first few days you take it, and then that goes away. And then other things are like your heart rate start to steady out, a lot of your physical responses of your body being like, fuck, this is a little bit intense, tend to mellow out a little bit over the next couple of weeks. But the mental stuff shouldn't really be impacted at all, because that's just your serotonin levels. So I'm kind of pretty sure that the med holidays or whatever people are on about, I feel like that's a little bit like drug-seeky behavior where people are just chasing that high from like first taking your meds. It was a little bit fucky to me. I noticed my provider did not mention that in any way. And all advice that makes any sense to me seems to follow the line of, take your meds at the same time every day, make it a routine, so that your body does adapt to it, and you want that to reduce your negative side effects. I don't know. I think it's just because there's one positive side effect that people chase a little bit. I feel like that's kind of become a bit fucky with ADHD stuff, because at the end of the day, it is still an amphetamine. But yeah, I don't know. Okay, I'm not caught up with chat at all, but I'm just gonna jump in over here. If there was a point that I've missed that you feel like I should see, just like retype it, I guess. There's an overlap in symptoms between F21 and high functioning ASD, hence the doubts. But like you said, it could be either of the two. It could be both. Either way, it's neurodivergence, and well, that's all that kind of matters at the end of the day. Like there's no medication that could help either case. So yeah, I can get that soul strings. If it is just like, I guess the usefulness to it is like, what do you do about it? Because it's not necessarily just, it's not just what do you do about it, but what should you expect and like understand about it. Like it's not just medication that is a thing. Like if you have ASD, my understanding is there are various therapy type things and various just sort of like social training that can help with certain things. If it's something that is along the social side, or if it's more of like a sensory thing, then knowing that can help you deal with like, oh, maybe I need like some of those noise cancelling headphones, or maybe I need to avoid certain sensations, or maybe I need this or that, and you can have a bit more understanding of like how to manage your symptoms. To some degree though, I do agree with you, depending on what the symptoms are. Like maybe there isn't much to do and it is just like knowing, like just having a diagnosis. Like I have a mild suspicion that I lean towards I probably don't, but some people that very much don't have the expertise to really have an opinion but do anyway, I guess, have suggested that maybe I might have autism. Like my stepmom, although clearly, and like I can tell, she is talking out of her ass with a lot of this stuff. But it seems very confident that I have autism. And in my experience with her, she has not got a good read of these things, but whatever. But I definitely do have some autistic traits. Maybe I have autism, but like, I haven't bothered to get it checked. I don't even know why I would bother, because I don't know. It doesn't, if I do have it, it's not causing me issues that I am aware of. I don't know what I would do with that information. It was just like, oh, okay, I guess I have autism, and that's it. Like, I don't know what I would do with that information. So I don't really know what's the point of wasting my time in getting a diagnosis. Like, I'm not going to be doing anything about it. So, like, you know, yeah. So like, I don't know. It's like 70-hour for full elimination once it settles in. You do find that cutting it. Oh, you're talking about what's it called? Melatonin? You're talking about melatonin there, Clara. Yeah, what was your last message to see if I can click with what you're on about? Oh, Clara, I have no idea which medication you're talking about there. Oh, Elvance, 12-hour half-life. Yeah, I thought it was shorter than that, but sure. So 70-hour for full, so 60-hour for full elimination. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's in your system like at all for like 2.5 days, basically. The only useful thing in awareness is just knowing what the fuck is going on. Really helpful with anxiety and stuff. It's like transitioning, i.e. you know you're trans, it's not a cure for all problems. Yeah, I just feel like there's nothing I would even change behaviorally, or no, I would be doing nothing differently having been told like, oh, you have autism. It's like, okay, cool, boss, and then carry on with what I'm doing, because I don't notice any negative impacts from it, if it is even a thing there, which might just be a sign that like, yeah, because you're not autistic. But yeah, at least I'm not aware of any issues that come into play because of it. Like, I get some social anxiety, but not much. It doesn't seem to be any different to how much most people get, and it's only in like unique situations I haven't been in before. Generally pretty okay. I'm pretty extroverted in general. So yeah, I don't know if I'm autistic. I have no even clue what issues it might be causing in my life, which lends me towards it probably isn't causing any issues. I don't feel like I experience issues that could be explained via autism. Yeah. Issues in my life, I don't generally have many issues. Like there's the ADHD stuff that causes an issue, and then like I've got some separate mental health things that definitely aren't autism things. Like you all know by now that I have some body issues that I'm going through, which I'm pretty certain has nothing to do with autism. So like, yeah, outside of those two things, I've some sleep issues, I guess. I don't think there's anything that, like, if I was given a diagnosis of autism, that I would be making an effort to change. So yeah, it just seems like I'd be just given some information and be like unactionable in any way. It does feel good because it ticks a box that says, what if? Like, boom, you now know more about yourself and just proceed with your life. Yeah, I don't know if I really have that. I don't know if I really experience that. Like, so, okay, the reason I would distinguish this from being from trans stuff is, like, diagnosis for me in terms of gender dysphoria. One, if I'm being completely honest with all of you, I fucking lied. Okay, because I don't experience dysphoria. But that is a medication is gatekept behind that. So I lied. So I would get my medication, my HRT, because you have to have you have to be experiencing a issue to get medical care. There has to be a problem being solved. So yeah, I basically stretched the truth. I didn't lie outright. It was, or I guess the lie was like, here are my experiences, and those things cause dysphoria, and then that's the bit that lies. Like, I have the desire to be perceived as feminine, yes, but I don't have like a negative from being perceived as masculine. Yeah, at least when I'm presenting masculine, I don't. If I'm like I am right now, and then somebody misgenders me, I'm gonna be like, oh, no thank you, because like that's not what I'm trying to present as right now. But like when I'm presenting as a dude, or when I did present as a dude, like that was fine. I'm even these days leaning towards like maybe I'm more of a gender fluid. I bounced back and forth so much on that. I have no idea, to be honest. But I might even be gender fluid, or something like that, like bigender or one of those sorts of things. So yeah, in terms of the like, okay, I'm trans, cool. Anyway, like that's not the case for me, at least. Being trans gave me a realization to like, oh, like, yo, go present femme. That's like, there was the action there was present femme, and change my name and change, like, there's a whole bunch of actions. Change my voice. There's a whole bunch of actions that have come with that. But with like, if I was told like, you're autistic, I'd be like, oh, okay. And then I carry on with my life. I don't think I wouldn't even have any sort of like, oh, that explains these things and that's cool. Like, maybe it'd be like, oh, okay, I guess that explains that and that. But I don't have like any positive or negative reaction to that. It's just like, oh, okay. Nothing more than being like told a fun fact, I guess. Yeah, it doesn't, I don't care. Pip Blue Badge, they would only be relevant if they were affecting me in such a way that would affect my employment. I don't know why, I don't think a blue badge, like I have no idea how it would affect me parking in a particular place, so I don't know why I would get a blue badge. If we're talking about the same thing with blue badge. In the UK, blue badge is the badge you put on your car so you can park in the disabled bays. Which I see no reason why I would be parking in disabled bays if I was labelled as autistic. And PIP, I see no reason why I would get that either, because it doesn't affect my employment. At least not in a way that I'm aware of. Also, the UK PIP, they are like, especially right now with this current administration, for whatever reason, it seems like one of the ways that the Labour government, of all people, want to try to save money is by cracking down on PIP, like super crazy hardcore. So there's no fucking way that I would ever have access to PIP. Like, yeah, it's really bizarre. But yeah, I think I would feel, even if I was able to like get myself through PIP, because I do think ADHD, I do think has cost me money. Like, I definitely have a higher proclivity to get parking fines and stuff for just not paying attention, or like bus lane fines and stuff like that. Those sorts of things. And there's definitely been like, my career has suffered significantly for having ADHD, although meds kind of fix that issue. I could see there being a decent argument for me getting PIP there, although I feel like I would feel uncomfortable taking that money, because like, it's a limited pot and other people need it a lot more than I do. So I think I would feel uncomfortable taking that money. I don't know. Boo, 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 boo. All your psychologist was willing to diagnose you with was PTSD. You felt compartmentalized and dismissed. Definitely an air phase of your life. Yeah, that's valid. Yeah, if you're looking for something to be helped with, and it's like if I was not diagnosed with ADHD, I think I'd be feeling a little bit frustrated, because that either means that one, I was misdiagnosed, or two, that oh shit, it's not ADHD, so what the fuck is it? Like, there's still an issue being experienced, and the only reason I want the diagnosis is to fix that issue. So if it's not ADHD, then it's something else, and I don't know where to look at that point. Obviously, it was ADHD, but like, yeah. So I can definitely feel how that would be frustrating. Depends on the extent of ASD to get PIP. Yeah, for sure. If you have, like, I can see how ASD would move to you needing PIP. 100%. That's not the case for me. I feel very confident in saying. You settled into non-binary trans femme. You call it gender prism. That's fair. Yeah, I think it'd be something like, I don't know, some kind of trans femme, gender fluidy thingy majiggy. Like a gender fluid thing with a preference towards femme. I think, I'm not sure how much my my body issue things are playing into my resistance against gender fluidity. Like, I don't know, if I felt like I could fully pass as both masculine and feminine, maybe I would be more inclined towards fluidity in boy moding sometimes. I'm just not sure at the moment, because I don't have access to that knowledge yet, because right now I have a lot of brain issues about the way I present, and kind of failing in my presentation. Yeah. Payment if you're diagnosed with ASD. Here as a kid, because it's only time you can get diagnosis. That's crazy. You're just dismissed once you're 18. That's nuts. Wait. Adults can't be autistic? Fucking autism cures itself at above the age of 18? That's... Okay, you're in an interesting country. Yeah, that is some interest. Soul Strings, everything you tell me about your country's medical system sounds the most insane stuff. At least anything that is like on the like mental side, like the brain side of stuff. Like, goddamn, your medical system sounds crazy. You know a friend of ASD/ADHD who has PIP and Blue Badge, helps with anxiety and being generally disorganized around journeys and driving. PIP is not related to employability. PIP is not related to employability? Are you sure? I feel like the entire point of PIP is linked to employability. Like, literally the tests for if you can apply to PIP are things that are like, does this preclude you from working? Like, I remember one of the old tests was like, can you raise your arms up like this? Because it's like, can you do that for work? Yeah, mental health is already shrugged off, barely worth trying. Yeah, I mean, certainly under our current administration, there's no point in trying. Because I feel like even physically disabled people are having a really hard time with PIP right now. So I think there's no shot that I would be able to get it. Or if I was to, I'd have to be playing up my symptoms quite significantly, which I definitely don't feel comfortable doing. So yeah, and even if I was able to get PIP, unless I was aware that our country was in a really fucking great financial position, I just don't think I'd feel comfortable doing so. Because to me, it feels like somebody else would do better with that money. As much as like I'm not doing great financially, which I'm definitely not, but like I can get by. I'm very good at not having much money. I'm quite skilled at being poor, I guess. And I have a boyfriend who is earning quite a bit of money now, and doing quite well, and is very generous, I guess. And yeah, he takes on the lion's share of the bills and stuff, which is really helpful. So like, we're okay. And his finances are doing amazingly. Like, I say that my finances aren't great, but they're both not great, and also there is if it was needed, a fallback of my boyfriend whose finances are doing incredibly well. Like his money's just going up and up, which is amazing. And I'm desperately trying to encourage him to let me fucking invest that money because I can massively help that grow. But he's very resistant against that because he does not understand investing at all. And he has all the wrong opinions on it and stuff. All the typical stuff of like, oh, like, because I want him to invest in the US economy right now, especially like, holy shit, what an opportunity, because it's doing so badly right now. Like that's a great opportunity. Put your money in there. So when it recovers, you get this huge increase. Like, buy when it's low, so that you can enjoy the benefit of when it goes high. That's like basic. Buy low, sell high, obviously. But lots of people have the misconception of like, oh, things are low right now. Oh, I should back off, or maybe I should sell because everything's tanking. It's like, no, if it's tanking, that's when you buy. That's an opportunity. But he cannot be convinced. Whatever. Boo. Every time you talk to folks from normal countries, you just realize how miserable and depressing your entire existence is. Yeah, and how and why are you even alive at this point? Good question to be asked. Well, the why should be an easy one to ask. Of like, yo, because like life is still worth living. Soul strings, you know, positivity and shit. But like the how, I can definitely get that one. Yeah, I have no understanding of how your country functions and gets by in terms of that stuff. But yeah, like I would encourage you to come here compared to where you're at right now, Soul Strings, because like, hey, UK's pretty fucked in a lot of ways with that stuff right now, and like definitely with trans stuff right now. Shit, it seems better than where you're from. No, Soul Strings, I disagree. Definitely worth. You gotta stay positive with that shit. You do cool music stuff. You have like a lot of potential. You know, you work on that. You should. If you're feeling like it's not worth living right now, like, one, you should be prioritizing therapy. You definitely need to get yourself in therapy and prioritize that over basically anything except food. Like I would even consider like moving to a cheaper place if that is a thing, like so that you can just get therapy, because like that's an important thing if you're in a position of like life feeling not worth living. Like shit, I'd even be willing to risk homelessness just to get therapy there. That's a fucking big deal. And yeah, just like, how do I even? I gotta put myself in where my brain was at when I used to have that kind of a brain thinky, and like for real, like, fuck, it's so. I don't want to get fucking cringe and gay with it, but like, you got a lot that you can contribute, and like, the world needs you doing that. So like, you kind of you need to. Everybody needs you to. The world would be a significantly worse place if you did not. So like, it's risky for you to go into therapy while still in a country. I suppose I'll take your word for that, but then that, yeah, I guess the focus needs to be like, get yourself out of that country if it's that bad. And I fully understand that's a lot easier said than done. But like, it's having that as the goal as opposed to just giving up. Like, the giving up is not an option. It's just, okay, we need to lay out a plan. How do we make this happen? What do we need to be doing to get ourselves out of the country? Is it, you know, I know that you tried to make a living off of music, but maybe right now we need to just get an ordinary fucking job so that we can save up enough to fucking move and leave. Yeah, work in progress. That's good. That's good. Yeah. You don't need to disclose anything you don't want to disclose. But like, that's the thing. It needs to be a work in progress and something that you are moving towards, rather than any kind of give up being possible. Like, there is no give up. There is just, what do we need to do next? And try to, like, as best as you can, like, reduce the, like, how do I word this? Reduce the time window of analysis. I feel like that is not how you're supposed to say that sentence. But like, it's not about what is in store for next year or what is in store for the next 6 months or the next month. It's just like, what do I need to be doing today, or what do I need to be doing this hour, or that sort of thing. Yeah, in terms of endurance things, like, yeah, try to reduce the time frame that you're looking at any given moment. No, soul strings, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, I think my biggest advice for that would be, and this is, I'm only relying on my own experience with depression things and that getting real fucking bad. A big one that seems to be a universal thing for a lot of people is try to just reduce the time frame that you're looking towards. It's not going to fix it, obviously, but it'll make it a lot more manageable for just enduring. Just like, what do I need to be doing in this current hour? And don't worry about past that. What do I need to be doing right now? And what do I need to be doing? You know, whatever the time frame needs to be for you. And like, you know, if that could even be half an hour or 10 minutes or whatever it is. Don't like be like super prideful about it. Just like, yo, bring it back as much as you need to bring it back. If it's that day, it's that day. If it's that hour, it's that hour. If that's that minute, it's that minute. Just short time span of analysis. Yeah, because it's just much easier to deal with, I guess. It's a lot easier to figure out what you need to be doing over the next hour compared to the next year. Like, you don't need to endure as much if you're just looking at a shorter time of analysis. Yeah. Okie dokie. I think I'm caught up on chat. Have I successfully caught up on chat? I think so. Okay. Oh my god. Oh, music's over? Oh yeah, I'm not going to be in tune with what's happening with music, so you guys are going to have to tell me that. Let me... Let me hide the display for a moment. And grab the music. We'll go for you. Pop you on. I said it was going to be a shorter stream, and then we're kind of ending up not a shorter stream. I'm considering, do we go for the plan for the rest of today, or do we finish up sooner? Because my voice is a bit tired, but I don't mind doing a bit more. I guess, okay, let's just talk about the topic of today. No, that was just story time. That's all good. So the kind of plan for today was essentially, if I grab this, actually I'll need to, ooh. Okay, hold up. Can I will still need to hide this for a second, but if I go over here, oh, brilliant, lovely. I don't even need to hide that. Okay. Not you, over there, and then, okay, so the EHRC, the Equality Human Rights Committee, no, that's not right, Equality and Human Rights Commission in the UK are now taking, they're now taking public consultation with regards to the changes to their guidelines and the changes to their, what's it called, code of practice for the update since the UK Supreme Court hearing from the 16th of April. So if I copy these over, so basically you can tell them like, hey, you've created a bunch of problems. Here's your problems that you've created. And as a member of the UK, we all get to participate in this. So it is really important that anybody, that everybody that's in the UK, that is a UK citizen, does so. It's like a super important thing that you need to be doing. Okay, I've got all my things into the window, and I can drag it over. I can minimize that. Yeah, so this is a thing that everybody in the UK can do, and if you're in the UK, it is really important that you're doing it. I'll pop some information in the Discord about it. But essentially, I'm not going to go through. I was going to do my one on stream, but it's going to take us. I don't know how long this takes. It's probably going to take too long for today. So we'll just talk about it for a little bit before wrapping up the stream. We'll go through this. Okay, so here's the first little thing. Here's a little article that somebody's made. There's just a guide on how to do public consultations and how to fill in this survey. I believe it does give a bit of like, hey, if you're wanting to answer in this way, this is kind of the best way to do it. But to be honest, this is mainly just it's mainly just like it is responding to EHRC consultation. What do I say? They're mainly just telling you, regardless of what your opinion is and what you want to say, here's how to say it, and just here's how EHRC wants you to be engaging with this. From what I've read of this article so far. So let's go through it. First little bullet points I want us to know. Send a copy of your response to Transactual via policy@transactual.org.uk. That's these people. Send a copy to your MP. Send proof of EHRC submission. Let us know if we can share your sub with government. So that's to help them with their push. And yeah, let them know if you want to respond, if you want to be anonymized. And remember, this is the important bit. If you're doing this, and I guess here's the link to it as well, it must be done before the 30th. So you have 5 more days. The 30th is on Monday. Must do this by Monday, okay? Really, really important that you get it done. Because this affects how the law affects trans people. If you don't like, but you are currently barred from your gender's bathroom, then this is your opportunity to let that be known. And this is your opportunity to make that change. Because I think there are some clear points, like we laid it out on our stream where we went through the changes to the Equality Act and the Supreme Court ruling. There are some really obvious places where, like, bathroom policy, it's very clear that bathroom policy doesn't make sense. One, cleaners. You have cleaners that clean bathrooms, and it is a very common practice for them to not be of the same sex of that bathroom. Normally when you go into a public bathroom, there will be a sign saying, hey, there may be cleaners of the opposite sex coming into this bathroom to clean. Be aware of that. So just from the off, public bathrooms aren't usually single-sex spaces. Despite the fact that in the EHRC guidelines, EHRC interim guidelines, which I do not believe there is a separate set of guidelines, there is just the actual code of practice. It very clearly states here, if I just go into, I think they put it as toilet, yes. In relation to workplaces, requirements are set out in the Workplace Regulations 1992. These require suitable and sufficient facilities to be providing, including toilets and sometimes changing facilities and showers. Toilets, showers, and changing facilities may be mixed sex, where they are in separate room lockable from the inside, where changing facilities are required under the regulations, and where it is necessary for reasons of propriety. There must be separate facilities for men and women, or separate use of those facilities, such as separate lockable rooms. So if you have a single room with a bathroom in it, like you'd have in a cafe, that can be mixed. And if you have a place with stalls, then, and it goes into this more, it like gives that specific thing about stalls. If it's stalls, then very specifically that has to be there has to be single-sex ones available, i.e. male and female. And it lays out here that a trans woman would not be able to use for women's, and a trans men would not be able to use men's. And in some circumstances, also trans women would not be able to permitted to use men's, so such that they can use neither. There just should always be some facility provided, which would be some kind of mixed space, which for most places is just going to be used for fucking disabled, which is obviously a shit situation. You're just being segregated off, and that sucks. Yeah, so the big issue here that hasn't been thought about is like, yo, this has never been how it's worked. Cleaners are very regularly mixed sex, so this is not how this works anyway. These have never been single sex spaces because cleaners. It's just been the users that have been like single sex or whatever. Severe's a big one. There's also very clearly it is the case that if somebody is passing, then public do not want them to be in the in that person's assigned gender at birth bathroom. It's very obvious that fucking Jamie Dodger. Oh, that's just actually become Jamie Dodger. If I fucking put in YouTube, I'll probably, there you go, Jamie Rains. It's very obvious that this dude women would be uncomfortable with him in the bathroom. I see that there is no way that it makes sense for this dude to be in the women's bathroom. That people are going to be a lot more uncomfortable with him being in there than me being in there, 100% of the time. So they've not considered people that pass, frankly. So like, yeah, there's a lot of clear issues, and this is your opportunity. This is your opportunity to lay them out, and you get to just do that. So yeah, make sure you're doing it. It's a complex document and challenging issue. One of it we should not have to be dealing with, as it has come about as Supreme Court's deeply flawed ruling. Blah 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 blah. Yes, we know. But yeah, make sure you're doing it. How long will it take? A lot of questions to answer, up to 52 if you respond to all sections. However, even if you only have 10 minutes, it's really important to have your say and tell EHRC how you feel. I would say try to, like, I know that it can be annoying to spend like an hour on something, but like, you can probably find an hour at some point in the next 5 days. Please do so. It's really important. But even if you can't, just find, like, if you've got 10 minutes, answer all of the tick boxes. Would you like to provide feedback questions with yes, and answer all the tick boxes to what extent you agree with your statements. Like, if you only have a limited amount of time in the next 5 days, then follow this. But like, you know, this is something worth your time. So, structure you should expect. First question. This asks, to what extent do you agree or disagree with the following statement? The explanation of legal rights and responsibilities set out in new content on whatever the updated area is, and whether it's clear. Response options range from strongly agree to disagree, blah, blah, blah. You already know about that sort of stuff. As organizations, they'll be selecting strongly disagree almost every time. However, please select the option that feels right to you. So yeah, again, like, do just answer it how you feel is reasonable. But obviously, if you're saying it sounds unclear, then that's you expressing that you think it should be changed. Second question, is there anything you would change to make the explanation of legal rights and responsibilities in this update clearer? Try to prepare this a little bit and like spend some time on it. And you've got 1,000 words to do it in. So yeah. Oh yeah, the consultation form won't actually outline what proposed changes are, which is really annoying. There's links on here for that. Looking over these is a little bit annoying because they don't show the changed areas. Oh fuck, I'm gonna have to fucking download it, aren't I? They don't give the changed areas, they just give you the entire document. So it's a bit of an annoying thing to go through. Which is one of the reasons why I was hoping to go through it today. So you guys have gone through it, but we don't have time today. It's still worth trying to put every effort into this because this is going to affect, if you're in the UK, this affects your daily life. So like, I think that's a reasonable thing to be going through. Oh yeah, that's the important one. You don't have to limit your responses to fit the question asked, which is about how to make things clearer. You can raise whatever issue you wish. That's the main point I wanted to go through this with you guys to go over. You can take this opportunity to lay out every issue that you have. You can provide examples, explain how you believe these changes will affect you and others. That's an important one. Like, it doesn't just have to be, is this clear? It can also be, how does this affect you? And how does you feel it affect other people? Practical issues, obviously, toilet police as an obvious one. concerns or confusion, again, anything you think is unclear is going to be really good to lay out. And ask any unanswered questions in the AHRC's explanations. Yeah, you have a broad scope here, so use your broad scope. Obviously, don't copy and paste anything because identical or near identical responses are likely not to be counted. So write things in your own words, as is your beliefs on stuff. Yeah. And this is just like some things that you might want to be mentioning in your questions, in your responses, which is most of this following section. Anything else that I feel needs going over here? And this is just going over what we went over on stream about the actual changes that have happened. So I'd definitely suggest reading through this to update yourself. Main thing is basically your legal gender, regardless of whether you have a GRC or not, is your gender as assigned by birth, and there is no way to change that under the eyes of a law. Basically, GRCs are now non-existent and pointless. So yeah, and then the EHRC addition to that, I guess, is they seem to have expanded the scope of single-sex space by quite a significant degree. I.e. bathrooms, i.e. changing rooms, i.e. things like that, where it's like normal day-to-day use. Again, cleaners is the big one there. And there's also seems to be a lack of consideration towards passing people, in that if you pass, the public probably wants you to be in the more appropriate bathroom for you. I.e. if you're a passing trans woman, public probably doesn't want you in the men's facilities. Probably a lot of people are going to feel very uncomfortable in that situation. And then even more so, if you're a passing trans man, I highly doubt that any woman, whether cis or trans, is going to want you in their facilities. Or unless there's somebody that doesn't care about that sort of thing, like me. But yeah, the same people that are uncomfortable with me being in a bathroom are going to be a hell of a lot more uncomfortable with someone like Jamie, whatever his name was, or any other passing trans dude. So yeah, just make sure you're like taking your time with this and making all of your points known. Try to be concise in your speech. Don't ramble. Try to make it nice and clear. You know, you want somebody that probably is a bit dumb to be able to make clear sense of what you're saying. And that's how you should treat it. So that anyone with any level of education could very clearly understand what you're saying. By all means, make reference to points in the Supreme Court ruling. And like you can reference like in or like this doesn't make sense in section 9.3 or whatever. You don't need to then lay out what that is necessarily, because that is already going to be known. But the point is just to make sure that your responses are really nice and clear and concise, because it's going to make people just read it better. Yeah. If in doubt, ask in the general chat of our Discord. I'm generally pretty good with writing in a concise manner, in a clear manner, so I can probably help you make your response a bit clearer and more concise if that's something you're worried about. Obviously, I don't have time to go through like everybody's individual answers, but like if you're concerned about it, like drop something in. Either I or somebody else, I'm sure would be able to help you. Yeah, shit. All right, let's wrap up. I'm fucking knackered. My voice is exhausted. And I need to prepare some of the other stuff I have to do today. So, if you guys have any questions about any of this, then let me know in a chat. Otherwise, I'm probably going to wrap up here. Again, you have until the 30th of June to do this. Your 2 links there are the main ones. All of these other links are within this thing. Again, it's just the interim update. You can easily Google that. And yeah, the actual code of practice itself. yeah, all right. I'm not seeing any questions in chat, so let's wrap up. In terms of what's happening next in Trans Network, it's Wednesday today, so the next thing is Saturday. On Saturday, we have the usual workshop. Yo, that's weird. Samantha, it shows us you having sent a blank message. I don't know how that works. Whereas clearly a more clear thing on my little on-screen chat. Is that a happy face or is that a box? I have no idea what you just typed, Samantha. Oh, it's a pink heart. Oh, that's weird. I don't know why that doesn't come up on my chat bot. How was that? Yeah, next thing is going to be the weekly workshop, so make sure you swing by on Saturday for that. And then if I have a little look at my calendar, I'm now teaching Mara weekly. So every single Wednesday we have at 1 p.m. These streams are always going to start off with a public lesson with Mara. So check in for that. And we also, Jaden's lesson was cancelled yesterday and I still need to reorganize with her. So will probably be a Jaden lesson coming up that week as well. So yeah, look out for those things. Oh, and on Monday, there is a public lesson with Angelic. So it'll probably be either Monday is going to have 2 lessons or will be a stream every day, Monday till Wednesday. Next week, we'll have to figure it out between myself and Jaden. I'll probably lean towards wanting on for Monday. But yeah, so that's all of that. Your chat does not display emotes, it seems. That sucks. Had the same problem on Windows 7 back in the day. Yeah, so this is quite an old chatbot that Streamlabs made a long time ago and then have since abandoned it. But like it's still a very well functioning thing. It's just not their focus anymore. So like, yeah. Anyway, all right. I love you all. Thank you all so much for coming. Appreciate your faces. And I will see you next time. Yeah. Okay. All right. Oh yeah, and expect this to be... I quite like this stream setup. I feel like maybe I need to go a little bit further back, but I definitely prefer being a bit further back so that there's more of me in frame. You can kind of see my outfit a little bit more. It doesn't like cut off here like it was before, which I feel happy with. So yeah, I think expect more of this. I'm probably going to be playing around with some background stuff a bit more because I recognize that like what you guys see right now is like me and then a bunch of clutter, and this is just a cluttered space. So I probably want to be doing something over here. Whoa. Changing this a little bit so that it's a bit less cluttered. So I guess, yeah, expect stuff with that when I figure out what I'm doing with it. Or there'll probably be a little bit of tweaking, playing around with it. But yeah. Okie dokie, everybody. I'll see you next time and have a wonderful rest of your day. All right. Appreciate your faces. Bye.